or however you find us. Thank you very much for joining us. Jacob Barber is on assignment in Florida this week. He'll hopefully be joining us back again next week, but I am still with my other fellow Lonely Marks here tonight. I am Austin Pezhal alongside JPO, Jordan Owens. What's going on, sir?
What's up, good people? Another good week of wrestling. Some good predictions coming up. Yeah, man. I think it's a fun time to be a wrestling fan. I'm happy I'm one.
No, there's a lot of newsworthy, noteworthy, crazy stuff going on. So yeah, it's a very exciting time once again in the wrestling world. Richie Goodacre, how's it going, sir?
Yeah, going all right. Feels like I haven't only talked to you just before. But yeah,
if this whole panel feels familiar from just a few minutes ago. We'll talk about that. I'll talk about that at the end of the show if you want to know where else you could have found us tonight.
Excited to talk about wrestling news. Exciting times in the world of wrestling.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, speaking of news, let's do as we always do. Let's get started with some news. You guys mentioned on our other show we were doing, again, a little bit of a somber note. We did have another death in the wrestling world. We had Sika Anoa'i of the Wild Samoans passed away I believe either today or yesterday. Was it just today or the news broke today that he passed away? Yesterday, yeah, that we have lost Sika of the Wild Samoans. Probably actually, again, other than Wild Samoans, best known as the father of both Rosie of 3 Minute Warning and Rosie and the Hurricane, the tag team, and of course Roman Reigns. Who's still very much obviously relevant right now, former undisputed champion. So, we can kind of talk about him just briefly. JPO, any tidbits about the Sika Man or any specific memories or anything like that, other than being Roman Reigns' dad and whatnot? And we saw him. Was he the guy who came out recently after one of his matches? Wasn't it like just not long ago? He was on the ramp today.
I think it was 2020, 2021. I forgot because I feel like it was still in that like.
Pandemic, era.
And that Thunderdome era, but
JPO, any thoughts about that? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that would be the last televised appearance, and not too much outside the fact. Yeah, he is a legendary competitor here, part of one of the original, head shrinkers, one of the original members of the NOI family, kind of get noticed and fame here, and legitimately, don't know if you have, The Rock, Yokozuna, Usos. Reigns, obviously, without the ground that they used, that him and Alpha set back in the day. So definitely gonna be missed here. It seemed like he lived a good, nice, long life, and his his patronage will continue on now for decades to come.
Yeah, no, a hell of a legacy. Obviously, it's just leaving, even just through, obviously, like you said, his relatives, sons and cousins and uncles, everybody in between with that giant extended Anoa'i family. So, Richie, any thoughts on Sika here, the Wild Samoans and whatnot?
Right as I take about every night.
Well, I'm coming to you next. So, don't take a bite as I'm about to come to you.
Podcast works.
Yeah.
I'm like Dominic Mysterio because I only have 5.
Shout out to Don, by the way, only eating chicken nuggets. That's my boy right there.
Yeah, he's a big chicken nugget fan. Who isn't?
I didn't. I love the Wild Samoans. I think all the sort of Hawaiian family. I think they did definitely sort of set the benchmark of hey man, these Hawaii families they're great. Not only great wrestlers, they're brawlers. Like most of them are, and I think you just sort of establish that with the bloodline here. That I don't like that GPS said. I think they're kind of the sort of the ones that kind of started it all. I don't think if it wasn't for their success, I don't know if you get all the others. But definitely, they definitely will be missed, and definitely a hugely important figure in wrestling history. So I think the Wild Samoans are a really good tag team.
Yeah, no, they're really fun.
Ask me a quick generic question, just anything.
JP, what'd you do this week? What you been watching? Anything you've been you want to recommend? That sounds like a good time. All right, excellent. I've gone back and watched some of the old Saturday Night's main events and whatnot and things like that. Kind of following the Brian Vinny show for a little while when they were doing the Saturday Night's main events, so they were kind of a big part of a lot of those. And really fun kind of tag team to watch. They had a unique style, but like you said, he lived a very long life, so at least he got to live quite a while, see his some of his family succeed, and at least at the beginnings of this sort of bloodline, or see most of this bloodline feud really kind of come to fruition. So because he's just passing away now, he's kind of seen it become one of the hottest things in wrestling, which has got to be pretty cool, knowing that your son kind of hit off one of the best sort of long-term storyline things they've done in a long time. So really good on there. So at least you got to see that come to fruition. So rest in peace.
Yeah, it's not the only bloodline news we have.
I know, yeah, because speaking of the bloodline, we can touch on that. We did literally the night after we did our last Lonely Marks, pretty eventful SmackDown. As we finally saw the debut of the long signed but not seen yet Jacob Fatu, making his big debut as part of this newer bloodline as well. Finally debuting as kind of the big wild man and muscle and whatnot. Laying out Cody Rhodes, doing another one of his, he was known for those big top rope splashes on the indie scene, so he got to do one of those, from the turnbuckle to the outside announce table, squashing Cody, taking him out. They did some nice stuff with the Tongas, kind of almost like looking at him, even them being like, what have we kind of unleashed here? Like, oh my God, comes a nice little shot to them just being like, we might have unleashed a demon here, or something we can't kind of control. But you brought it up, Jacob's, or it's not Jacob. Jacob's not here. Jordan, we'll get his thoughts next week. But Jordan, I mean, I'm assuming you saw kind of that SmackDown and the debut and whatnot. What'd you think of the whole angle and everything?
No, I was excited for it, man. I've been a Jacob Fatu fan for a minute here. Kind of his biggest claim so far was really just MLW so far.
Mm-hmm.
He was former world champion there, defeated Tom Lawler, would drop it to Alex Hammerstone. Was champ for like 800 days as well. And after he dropped it, a lot of people had been released that his contract was up, and a lot of people were just figuring he's going to go TNA or WWE, but ended up sticking around MLW for another couple years. Because I think the guy's been ready for a minute here. He's good in the ring. Reminds you of kind of like another version of like an Umaga who just really go fast paced. Kind of like a good hard hitter. And and so I'm down for him to be on the roster now. You got a lot going on, just like maybe we'll talk more Wyatt 6. There's a lot in the bloodline going on because now you got Tama and Tanga and Solo, and now you got Jacob Fatu. So you got a lot of bodies you're gonna have to kind of try to juggle so far. But they're all talented dudes, so I'm cool with it. Yeah, I'm happy Fatu's on the roster.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do because we know he can work. We know he's a hell of a worker. So get him in the ring and really freshen things up a little bit. Yeah, he could be. I'm excited just for the WWE fans who aren't as familiar with him from, like I said, MLW and some of his indie work to see the dude work because he's pretty great. But Richie, if you're ready and don't have,
I
will go to you for your thoughts on Jacob Fatu.
I'm all good. I think Jacob Fatu is like probably the sort of best member of the bloodline that had yet to sort of debut for the company, and now he is there. I think he's gonna be a success. My only main, and I think reportedly I think that was their concern as well. My concern is I think he might like kind of outshine Solo, who's supposed to be like the head. This head of this new faction. I think he's Jacob's definitely the most talented one of the bunch. So I think he's a more physical presence.
He's a bigger, more talented, and not more veteran of Solo. Yeah.
I'm just like maybe he should and it looks like Solo's going to get the title shot, and it's like, man, no, kind of after this, I'm more kind of keen for Jacob Fatu versus Cody Rhodes. But anyway.
I think you got to build up to it, though. Not that that's too quick.
Yeah, too quick.
It's got me intrigued. It's got me intrigued, and Jacob Fatu is great. I think, you talk about the future. I think he'll definitely be if you there's always going to be an Anoa'i who's going to be who's going to take the place of the other Anoa'i, and then there's no So I think. Or someone in that bloodline, not necessarily obviously it's a Fatu, but someone in that bloodline. So obviously I think Jacob Fatu is sort of poised to maybe take that mantle. So he's really good.
No, yeah, no, I'm super excited to see what they can do with him. Triple H has said in interviews he's a big fan of him, like, and had his eyes on him for a while, which is why he signed him, a little while back. Yeah, we knew he was signed. It was just kind of a matter of when he was going to show up on TV, and yeah, he certainly made a big splash, literally a big splash.
I get what you did.
No, it was a lot of fun.
I did read that maybe there was the reason why that there was the delay is that he does have a criminal record, like just from back when he was like 18, early on. So he might have like trouble getting into and then because obviously WWE are doing pay-per-views outside of America, so he might have had trouble getting out into other countries. So they obviously want to wait to debut him. Yeah, like when they're
in the United States. Yeah.
But so.
Well, yeah, no, and we'll see if he gets elevated eventually. I wouldn't mind seeing Solo just be more of like the head guy who maybe does the talking as kind of the presence, but lets Jacob Fatu and the Guerrillas of Destiny kind of do a lot of the actual grunt work, and the matches and whatnot.
I
once
feel
they
like
get past
we've
this
already
title
seen
shot.
like a way more calmer Solo these last month or two. You know what I mean? Like this isn't the same crazy guy that we've seen. We've seen Solo go from like the crazy sidekick to like the calculated kind of boss.
No, he's been wearing the suits. He's been having the promos with Paul Heyman backstage, like
even
the back and
Paul,
forth.
he's very soft spoken and I'll fucking kill you, but in a nice way. So
like Bobby Lashley, he's soft spoken and hard hitting, as they used to put on the Titans.
Yeah. He can now be more of a straight man, while Tama, Tenga, and especially Fatu go fucking balls.
No, let them go crazy and kind of do the dirty work and be the muscle of the group, and he can kind of stand back and watch, get involved when he needs to. I've liked the little backstage he's doing with Paul, where he's just been like, Roman's not coming back. He ain't coming back. It's me, and I especially did enjoy the when at the beginning of the show, I really liked the promo with CM Punk and Paul Heyman, where Paul was like, "Hey, can I ask you one favor? Can I go with you when you leave? Can I play this this?"
He put it very simply. He goes like one caveat or whatever, and Punk goes one. He goes, "Take me with you."
With you? No, I like this new Heyman where he's he's even afraid of what he's harboring here. Like he's afraid of his own creation, kind of a thing, and what he's unleashed and what's happening in the absence of Roman and whatnot. Like he's scared of his own guys. So no, I mean I like this kind of freshens up his character without being like the same thing he's been earlier on. Like it's a brand new kind of different side of Paul Heyman.
And they're further sowing the seeds of a babyface Roman, because he said the reason Roman never beefed with CM Punk is because of the established friendship, as a favor to Paul, because of the established friendship there. So it's there's bond there. Obviously he's there's I think
Roman's coming back. He's gonna be such an over baby.
Dude, he was already in that one segment. Weren't they chanting "We want Roman, we want Roman" at some point in the show? Like he's a babyface
storytelling.
Yeah, even without even being on TV, they've already pushed him as he's gonna get a monstrous babyface push.
Whenever he pops in, it's gonna be fucking huge.
He's come a long way since 2015 when he won the Royal Rumble, and people didn't want that, and now they
pushed it on him. Yeah, now people are clamoring for it. Yeah,
he pulled what is he, cousins with The Rock? He pulled a move from the Cuz. He was overbooked, and we fucking kind of shat on him a little bit. Although way more overbooked than what The Rock was when he was Mania. But then found a heel character. It worked, and now we kind of love him. You know what I mean? And now with this story too, and also he's kind of been able to go away for a little bit too, which I think helps sometimes. I like when wrestlers sometimes go away. Like we were almost saying kind of with Jericho to a degree, or other people where it's like, let me miss you for a little bit. And when you come back, I'm going to be totally hyped,
Yeah, well, and it'd be interesting to see, because obviously we know on the other side it's going to be, Roman and the Usos, maybe, making the full babyface turns.
Jimmy now.
Jimmy's going to come back soon and probably get a big pop, once he goes back to being a face with Jay. And then also the way they're kind of planting the seeds.
Hugs Jimmy and Jay have.
It's going to be huge. Yeah. Well, and what we're going to see as far as maybe who else outside of the bloodline, they get to kind of help them fight this new threat, because we've already had Cody and CM Punk have had, both had interactions with the bloodline, and little beats of them. We still have
You always got Sammy and Kevin.
Sammy and Kevin are out there, so they can always pull them into the storyline. Recruit people to help like fight this new threat. And it would be interesting if Roman has to confront Cody, and like they have to kind of come back together and put their differences aside.
I love the idea of like Roman going up to Sammy and being like, "I'm sorry."
No, that would that's a great thing that if they call back to it, having that conversation and being like,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I wasn't more Uzi.
I mean, there's plenty of stuff they can call back to, with all these different storylines, and like it makes it intriguing, and fighting this new threat. So like again, keeping it fresh, I like it.
And I mean, I think Triple H just mentioned this, but I love down the road. I don't know how they would get to it, but I'd love down the road if we get like Bloodline versus White 6. That'd be if they do it right, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. But yeah.
Well, who's the face in that one though?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure White 6 appeals.
Let's get to the White 6 and let's talk about it. I think they are faces.
Okay, well, no, get into it, JPL. So give us a little recap.
We had a little bit this week. We had both. It looks like they might feud with Chad Gable here, because after he won that triple threat, Nikki Cross comes out, scares him off, hands a VHS, which they should have done was gone. Yeah, we can't play this, so we'll get back to you next week.
We don't. Nobody has a VCR laying around here. We can't watch it.
Go to a pawn store.
Somebody go to a thrift Goodwill store and find a VCR for $5.
I did like Michael Cole. He said, "Oh yeah, I haven't seen this in like 25 years. So for the kids at home, this is called a VHS." It was just like, yeah. All right, man.
So we get that tape played. It's Bo Dallas. It's Uncle Howdy talking to Bo Dallas. So we are for the first time too confirming. Like storyline wise, it's the first time we've ever been able to confirm it's Bo Dallas. You know what I mean? Like so far, as far as canon goes, it's never been directly stated that Bo Dallas.
Real quick, and I'll let you in. Bo looks so much like Bray in that promo. It was kind of scary.
Yeah, he's got the full.
He's got the face and everything. Yeah, it was kind of scary.
Talking like Bray was kind of towards the end. You know what I mean? Because like when Bray his first promos, where Bray was just kind of brave again, like with his first return promos.
Right.
This is kind of reminiscent of that. Sharing the heartbreak here, and also being a little meta too, kind of talking about how is this blasphemy, or are you just trying to honor him or whatnot, and the broken and leading the other broken and lost kids. And I think the fact that it's also kind of dealt with Gable, because if you rewatch SmackDown the week before, they re-aired the footage and they edited it a little bit differently. So when they showed Gable, they also like re-edited in like Gable yelling at like Maxine. Like, you know what I mean? Like into the footage. So like, again, I think there maybe are kind of faces. I think they are going to maybe be kind of like the anti-bully monsters coming to get you kind of people. So I think that's kind of where we're going to see here. Because I definitely think they're going to be just, although why did they beat up all the security guards? I don't know. But still.
They're nameless. Who cares?
It's like beating up red shirt security guys. Like, who cares?
Wrong place, wrong time. Yeah, I'm sure they had it. It'd be funny if they try to explain it. They're like, no, you don't get it. That security guard was mean to his sister. That security guard cheated on on his taxes. That security guard, but no, I don't know. I think right now it's still early to tell. But I think they are going to be kind of more of the. I think they are faces. I think people want to cheer Bo, and people just kind of want to love this gimmick right now. So I think that makes sense.
Yeah, no, Richie, thoughts on?
I think that, and also I think that promo is a promo of Bo's life. I think he said to go because Bo, Bo's was only, and it's I feel bad for Bo because he's only really perceived it in a certain level at one point, and I always thought he was better than, what he, how that he pushed him, but like this, how do you, huh?
You believed.
He believed you, but this is how he's doing great. This how believed. Believed, yeah. I wonder if he believes in Joe Hendry. Him and his Uncle Howdy was great, but this promo was like, the promo was like, he was so good in this promo. I'm like, man, I could see them doing him being like a big star out of this. I think he was great. I'm not sure that. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle how they're gonna handle the build up to there.
I could see them continuing this gimmick maybe like once a week, as in like maybe
the other ones.
Huh?
With the other one, or you could like with I thought you meant like were they interviewing the other people, other ones?
Yeah, maybe if you let me finish. Yeah, as in you can see Uncle Howdy talking to maybe Rowan next week, talking to Nikki the week after that. Because like again, I feel like they all very much have the same storyline of these lost, you know, men and women
Without Bray, like they're kind of
being
lost
lost without
souls.
Bray, or just even being lost
Yeah.
in general, and like letting Bray, or sorry, in this case, Bo being the new like Bray cult leader of like,
Mhm.
hey, my children, you know what I mean? Like Joe Gacy. Joe Gacy probably wasn't lost because of Bray, but you could tell a good story of like, I had a group too, and my
And
men
then they
left
left
me,
me.
they went elsewhere, and I'm all alone, and I have no friends, I have no family, and here comes Bo to be my guidance now. You know what I mean? Like you can tell the story of each one of them. Nikki lost, obviously. You know what I mean? Eric can also play into the Bray thing. Yeah, Dexter is
Dexter,
Dexter will never speak.
I maybe you could have him speak, but it would ruin the illusion. But yeah, Dexter, like, hey, they brought me back, and I had a weird feud with the Miz, and then they took me off TV for ages. And then
I don't know about that, but yeah,
I don't know if
there's a better way to word it.
yeah, I know there's a better way to word it, but like yeah, the fact that but he fits in the fact that like
No, yeah,
yeah,
I'm saying all these
there was
lost, like yeah.
there was a long time where you forgot he was employed because they weren't using him.
Right, and then Dijak. Oh no, never mind.
Oh damn it!
Well,
There you go.
wait,
Segue.
what a segue to yeah this that
Yeah,
you
nice.
posted in there our thing this note that he posted on his I guess his Instagram of I mean that revealing that Dijak was his contract was not renegotiated or re-signed and they never even made him an offer even at the last hour that they just let it expire and he's gone now and just kind of saying that he feels like he was always pitching ideas or he felt like he was well liked and whatnot in NXT and everything, and he didn't know really like what he did wrong. That he was always assured that he was going to be around for a while. Who was the other person that got released that said the same thing? They kind of heard that they were going to be employed for a long time, and like they
Cameron
got
Grimes.
released. Yeah, Cameron Grimes, who kind of said the same thing. Like they always said, no, he was always well liked, kind of by all the management and whatnot, and then just wasn't re-signed. But Dijak is officially gone, and pretty much as of right now, JPO, I mean that thing pretty much makes it clear, like it just was expired, it's done. So I mean, he could theoretically show up somewhere else, like pretty much right now, right? I mean, very, very quickly if he wanted to. But yeah, I mean, Dijak now gone, and it's disappointing. Yeah, I feel like they never quite used Dijak maybe as well as they could have. I thought could have been a hell of a star on the main roster. Like, I mean, he's got the size, he's got the look, he's got the work rate. I love his work, what he does. Man, that match he had at Stand and Deliver with Obafemi and Josh Briggs, like that three-way was awesome. That was my favorite match of the show. Nice big meaty match that I enjoy. Those guys beating the hell out of each other. That match I said last year with Ilya Dragunov, that last man standing match was one of my favorite matches last year. Made my top 10 list. Just really, really good stuff. And yeah, it's really unfortunate because I'm a big fan of the guy. But JPO, thoughts on this whole Dijak situation? Yeah, not getting renewed. He's gone.
No, it's unfortunate news here because he was just called up to Raw, so there's hopes that they're gonna put him on the main roster again for the first time since Retribution, really. And there's potential here. Hell, I just looked it up too because I wanted to figure out what year it was. He's been with the company for about 7 years. Even one of the last big matches, not big matches, but really good matches that fell under the radar. I think again, almost was it Mania Weekend? Yeah, Mania Weekend. Him and Harper had a really good one back in 2019 on like an NXT special.
Thing,
yeah, and again, that was again. I remember even Harper threw that out as an example as to why he left because he's like, it felt very similar to what Dijak wrote, which was, I did everything I could ask of. I pitched ideas. I put in good matches. I was told they were good matches. You know what I mean? I'm easy to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Where's my, is there a moment coming? And this seems very similar to where, like, here's this guy who's like, I've been here 7 years. I've continually from, 2018 to literally, a month ago, 2 months ago, put out really good matches here. He's got a cool look, like, you know what I mean? Give him that fucking Matrix leather jacket, you know what I mean? Just Dijaks, like, yeah, and unfortunately, never really they gave him the ball ever here, and put him back in NXT, and then again had really good matches, and then put him on Raw, and then never even got to Raw, and you can tell that from the fact that we're now how many months into this new draft, and we still haven't seen him. Odyssey Jones is in catering. Like, it's weird.
He doesn't exist. I think. I think it was a figment of imagination.
I know. I swear. No. Was it Julian Moore in The Forgotten? No, I had a kid. I swear. I played me and Odyssey Jones. We hung out. So yeah, no. I mean, I think he's great. He before WWE was a Ring of Honor for a little while here. Other major indies. So yeah, again, I'm sure GCW looking right away. I'm sure if TNA can possibly look at him. New Japan, who knows? I think he's a good talent though. And like you said, this is one of those instances where this is not a 90 days thing. So he could literally pop up with the next TNA tapings, AEW if they wanted. Who knows? He could be the wild card. You can be Jeff Jarrett's wild card too Wednesday night if you want.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. But I don't see that happening just because it's so short notice.
No,
but
I'm just saying it is possible. This isn't a 90 days thing where it's like
right. No,
September.
No, totally. Yeah, no. I mean, we'll definitely see him pop up somewhere. But yeah, Richie, thoughts on Dijak?
I mean, part of me wants to. I mean, I don't know where Keith Lee is as far as health goes, but yeah. I want to see him and Keith Lee again, or him or at least maybe even teaming up like they used to. But yeah, like
the Monstars,
because their matches were fucking amazing. Some of the best in NXT. Yeah, like he has a lot of upside, but yeah, I could see his frustrations. There were a lot of booking decisions that I thought were questionable. Like even when he made his his return to NXT under just the name Dijak, and he attacked, I think it was Wes Lee. It's like, okay, they're doing a program with him and Wes Lee for the North American title. He'll probably win, and he lost that. So it's like, okay, he'd be a good North American champion. I'm like, well, what is they never gave him the ball and ran with it.
Zero titles. Zero titles his entire WWE run. 7 years.
Man, that's not even an NXT nothing.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, and he says in that note that he was supposed to, I think he was scheduled to even just be a number contender for the NXT title, and that and it never happened. I wonder if I do wonder because me and JP were talking about this because I was a bit sour on the fact that at Stand and Deliver it was Ilya Dragunov and Tony D'Angelo because I don't think I've never. I mean, I'm not a huge. I've not been. No secret, I'm not a huge fan.
Italians, huh?
I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan of that gimmick, and I don't think he's to that level. But and then I was like, you have Dijak right there. They've had they've had great matches. Why don't you just that's a Stand and Deliver match? Because Stand and Deliver is supposed to be their wrestle, and they're kind of their WrestleMania thing. And I just thought Tony D'Angelo was a bit kind of meh. Yeah, it was a bit disappointing. Yeah, it was a very meh announcement for that main event. So I thought maybe that was supposed to, maybe, but yeah, maybe that was maybe what he was referring to. I don't know. But yeah, he'll get booked right away. Yeah, like JPO said, GCW has probably already on the phone with them because when Scripps left, the former original, he debuted in GCW a few days later. Just had a match recently. So. Yeah, they booked him really quickly. So yeah, he'll be fine. He's really talented. But yes, I mean, WWE is a lot better lately. But sometimes there's baffling decisions where you've got a star right in front of you, and I don't understand how you don't know what to do with them. Anyway,
yeah, no, or at least a guy that could be one of those upper mid-card guys that just have really good matches, be like Intercontinental Champion or something like that. Yeah, I mean, U.S. title. Yeah, I mean, just at least something on the main roster. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Hey, JPO, that note sounds a whole lot like they just dropped off that note and said,
thank you, fuck you, bye, boom.
Well.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
That breaks, unfortunately, sometimes, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, no, I mean it's unfortunate, but yeah, I think he'll land on his feet. He'll be good, and that match he had with Keith Lee and PWG, a 5-star Meltzer match they had in PWG, pretty great. I have that DVD. Good stuff.
I wish PWG was still a thing. Yeah.
No, yeah, because they had a hell of a thing going there, but that's most of kind of the current news. We'll talk a little bit about the going on AEW as we sort of do predictions and whatnot. But unless there's anything else you guys want to bring up news wise,
my notes are going a bit crazy, but I would say that maybe the if you haven't seen the Jeff Jarrett promo he cut about the Owen Hart thing, do yourself a favor. That's so good.
Where everybody was like, "Why is he in the Owen Hart tournament?" Then he cut that promo, and everybody went, "Yeah, he should be in the Owen Hart
Let
tournament.
him win.
Let him win. Let him not only be in there, but he should win the whole damn thing."
He should win it. Like there's no, he should
Yeah,
win.
right.
But like, yeah, I hope he wins, but I don't know. But yeah.
Oh yeah, he was tag team champions with Owen Hart, and was really good friends with him. And yeah, it
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, that he has a history. With him.
It's like no disrespect to anybody else in the tournament, but you didn't know Owen. I'm like, yeah, okay.
You know what? Yeah, win the whole damn thing, Jeff Jarrett.
No, it really was. No, and it was. I'll even admit I was definitely in the same boat of like, oh yeah, Jared, that's right. He's still kind of a thing. All right, I guess he makes sense. And then later on after promo, it's like, yeah, let him win the fucking thing because he sold it. He sold it beautifully, man. There's an abbreviated version I think on Rampage or Collision. There's a longer version on YouTube to check out. And that is set for this Wednesday. He's facing the wild card, which makes me feel like he's screwed from the get-go. I don't feel like they're going to be like, look, surprise who it is, and they lose. So I got a feeling
It's the Pentaco.
So, oh, wow, that'd be funny. I'm thinking it's got to be a heel because any babyface that beats him now is going to be booed. Or like,
he's a babyface just for the tournament. You
that's
have
good
to
heel heat, though. No, it is. He's 100% a babyface in this tournament, so it's good heel heat, though. So, I mean, whoever wins, hopefully it's a good heel of some sort, you know?
Yeah.
The only way to be a babyface, a heel, is if, like, you know, in an alternate universe, if like Bret Hart was match fit and he came out and was the
What are you high? Yeah, I guess that would make sense. Like you're really like.
I said alternate universe. It's
where,
not gonna happen.
Bret Hart comes out of retirement 25 years later. I know, I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have the most basic match with no bumps.
Yeah.
You know, it's just wrist locks and leg locks and you know the sleeper holds. Yeah,
real quick too, if we want to mention the
yeah.
triumphant tag team title reign of the Miz and R-Truth is over with. 0 pay-per-view defenses as we now move on to JD McDonough and Finn Balor. Shout out to JD though, his first major main roster title win here, and also with somebody that helped like train him and get him into the business, Finn Balor. So that's kind of a cool story here. I do wish again, this is why I dislike the 5-match concept here, is because you've had these brand new set of tag titles. You had the thank you reign of Miz and Truth, probably the most Truth's done in years. If you go, because 24/7 was a joke. Miz hasn't been kind of a mid-card jobber, and then you had on the flip-flop, you had Grayson Waller's first major title run and Austin Theory's first major thing in several months, and neither titles have ever been showcased yet on pay-per-view.
Yeah, and also like Miz's character is weird. Like he never seemed to want to defend them. I don't know.
Well, no, I didn't think I got that because I was just more of like, hey, like let's not purposely look for, because Miz is still kind of a heel-ish. So I like that kind of contrast of like R-Truth being like, yeah, sure, let's do it, or like helping JD. It's R-Truth's fault they lost the titles. It was literally Liv Morgan mind fucking him into doing it, and R-Truth being like, the fuck, dude.
Yeah. JD and Finn look so much alike that they even that if you talk, you could convince people that they're brothers because they look alike too. That JD used to be called Twin Balor, and I think a nicknamed Twin Balor because they're very similar. But yeah, shout out to them. They're good.
There you go. Any other little tidbits before we move on to some predictions and switch over to AEW?
There's a female talent about to make a return to TNA. We haven't seen her in years. Reba Hardy's booked for a tag match soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough.
And return
Cool.
the Hardys are booked in a match as well. So
okay. I mean that's
Reba Hardy is booked as a favorite for no, it's all good.
Yeah. All right. Well, if with that out of the way, let's turn to some AEW. Talk some AEW. JPO, you got any predictions ready for us, sir? You're the graphic man, the prediction man.
All that stuff up.
Hook us up, will you?
You're ready because
I see
you there. Forbidden Door
Hey.
Sunday, June 30th. Several ways, traditional pay-per-view, and it is again on Triller. Do that one as well. 50 smackaroos to watch the Forbidden Door. But before you pay the 50 smackaroos, I believe these 3 are confirmed for 0 hour. 13 matches we're about to discuss. We got a tag team match. Willow Nightingale and Tom Nakano taking on Chris Statlander and Momo Watanabe. Those are fun names. All right. This one I actually think is kind of hard to say. But Pez, you go first. Who's walking away with the tag?
Some of these matches I'm unaware were happening, so my prediction is going to be a little on the fly. I don't know what's kind of been set up. I don't get to see everything week to week. I try to listen to as many recaps as I can. I knew Chris and Willow were going to have a thing. I don't know who these other two are or why they're involved. Maybe JPO could shed some light on that.
Because it's Forbidden Door.
That's
okay. They're from another country.
Are they from Stardom? Is that a Stardom thing?
It's got to be, I imagine. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, all right, I'm fair enough, I guess. I'm not as familiar with most of the Stardom talent. Willow just lost the title, but then it's like in a weird position because you want maybe Chris to look a little strong as well. It's this one. I might go with the Statlander team. I don't have a whole lot of logic behind it, but I'll go with the Chris Statlander Watanabe team.
They both are indeed Stardom stars, if you will, Momo and Tam. This could easily go either way here. I'm gonna actually go against you though. I'm gonna say, wait, what did you say? I said Chris and Momo. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I am going to go against you. I'm going to say Willow and Tom. My only logic into that is I think we're going to get Willow and Chris later, and I think Chris is going to win that. So give the faces a win here on the pre-show. Kind of the only thing I'm thinking of, but I could easily see it being either way. Sure. Richie, break the tie here. Who are you thinking?
Well, yeah, I mean it's great like JPO, but I'm going with Chris and Momo. I think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have any. I don't really have any logic to it. I just think that, you need maybe Chris. Again, you want to get a sort of momentum as a heel. You can still do Chris and Willow down the road, and they could have a few matches in the feud. So yeah, but I don't know. I just think Chris still needs that momentum as a heel. So yeah, I'll go Chris and Momo, and because I like saying Momo.
And of course, we'll get Jacob Barbers in here in our little Facebook group that we got going here. We'll add his to it as well. A little split here. I'm going the opposite, but the majority here are saying Chris and Momo, who I hope has a kid because someone can call her Mama Momo. Next here, we're going to the Owen Hart Foundation quarterfinal of Mariah May taking on Saraya. I feel like we're going to get Tony and Mariah somewhere, but other thing to keep in mind here is that this is going to lead into the finals anyway will lead into All In, so I definitely don't see Mariah getting it into there, although I could see her going farther in the tournament. This is only the quarterfinals. Saraya I think needs a little bit more of a win, a little bit more of a come up, and so I'm going to go Saraya here, although again I could definitely see Mariah picking this up. Richie.
I do think Saraya needs like the momentum, and I get lost. I lose track of she's always in different factions. Seems like she's always got different friendships going on. I just think that they're really high on Mariah May at the moment. So I'm gonna go Mariah May, and I can. So and I think that could probably lead to Mariah May and Tony Storm in the future. So I'll go Mariah May.
All right, Pez.
Yeah, that's another one where, I guess they both could use a win here. Again, I don't have a ton of logic. I don't know exactly where the tournament is going to go either way, so I guess I'll just go with Mariah here.
You know who the true winner is? England, because they're both English.
Sure.
Oh, that's actually, I didn't think about that. Again, I'm either kicking ass or getting my ass kicked because I am, again, in the minority here. Mariah May is expected to be the winner. 6-person tag here. Trios, got to have a trios match. Yota Tsuji, Titan, not Titan, Titan, I believe is how they kept saying it. And Hiromu Takahashi taking on Mystico, I believe is the OG Sin Cara. Pentagon. I hope you heard all that. Richie, what you got?
We did. I got the gist of it. This was actually tough. If it wasn't. I think if Hiromu was in this match, it'd be easy to kind of. But Hiromu Tanahashi's sort of. I don't know. I feel like Takahashi probably protect a little bit, but just because you don't want to do. I feel like this is my logic. I feel like in most of these cards, the winner's never really that disputed because it's a lot of the time it's just the the AEW guys go over or whatever. So, but this, I feel like Japan needs a win. So I will go Hiromi Takahashi, Yoda, and Titan, and I don't mind going the other way there.
All right, Pez, what you got?
Yeah, yeah, and I didn't even know this match was happening, so I'm getting my predictions on the fly here. Yeah, we're still in the pre-show, right? Okay. Well, just because again,
match,
yeah. Again, just because I don't know how familiar the crowd is going to be with the Japanese guys. I'm sure they'll put on a good show, but I think the Lucha Bros are, obviously more established, as well as Mystico. So I think they'll have a good showing, but I think the Lucha gentlemen will take this one. And on this one, I just put Japanese guys versus Lucha guys trios match. So Richie takes the Japanese guys. I'll take the Lucha guys.
Well, just like Lindsay and Grand Metalik, I'm going to say Lucha. Now, I will also go. You're the minority this time. Richie, how's it feel? I'm going to go Mystico and Lucha Brothers.
It feels all right.
You actually originally said part of my logic, which was like I actually do think the AEW guys who we are supposed to see pretty much every week will get the win, as well as in Mystico. I feel like he's kind of protected as well to a degree for wins and losses. Like he's even had some AEW wins. He's been on MLW. If I also agree that if Takahashi was in this, it would make it that much easier, because I feel like he's the only one that I could think could maybe lead them to a victory here. But I think chances are it will be the masked gentleman here on the right. So we should probably be in the full-on pay-per-view at this point here. The TNT Championship ladder match. Close your ears if you don't want any Rampage spoiler, because I will also give you the final participant in the match here as well. We got already announced Leo Rush, Jack Perry, Nosuke Takeshita, Mark Briscoe, Dante Martin, and El Phantasmo from New Japan will have a qualifying match on Friday. And obviously, as I just said, that's who's going to win. So uncover ears now if you want. So I don't know if anyone's going to vote for him anyway. Pez, who you got walking away, climbing the ladder, taking these titles?
I think this one's pretty obviously been pushed for Jack Perry to win this one, and like it would make the most sense for him to join the Elite and holding some gold here. And I think it's just been pretty obviously pushed there. Otherwise, I don't know why you would have him in the match in the first place. If he wasn't in the match, it might be a little more difficult. I mean, I'd like to see somebody like Takeshita or Briscoe get it, but I think it's the pretty it might be fairly obvious, but I think this is kind of tailor-made for Perry to get it, either by himself or probably with help, more likely with help from the Elite. So I'll take Jack Perry. Yeah.
No, I definitely don't mind that qualm at all. I mean, I really think this is a two-person race with Perry being the two here. Dante's in it because he's good at flipping. Even though he did break his leg.
He did break his leg, so maybe not. Yeah. Put him on the ladder match.
Well, they obviously still think he needs to be in it. So Mark is obviously no strength to ladders as well. Some ladder wars and Ring of Honor. Leo Rush, high flyer. It seems like Tony comes back to being high on him with his second chance here in AEW. And then Phantasmo is also just another good cruiserweight as well. But no, I'm gonna, because I feel like it's been already like they almost gave it to Jack just for the fuck of it. I'm going to say Takeshita. I'm going to say this guy has been on the cusp. You put him in there with Moxley, you put him in there with other people, and he always seems to kind of put on good performance, never quite gets that next step. And I think you kind of need to maybe start making this Don Callis family matter, because I think they're probably about to break up with Ospreay anyway pretty soon here. And then you only got people that I think you just need to win. You need a title here. And let's, again, maybe because it's too obvious to me, I'm going to go with Takeshita. Richie, who's walking away with the title?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, it is a two-person race here. It's Takeshita or Perry. I think Takeshita. I think Takeshita needs more than Perry at this point. I think Takeshita is one of those people that, has, is super good, but never, they never kind of like Dijak. They never kind of, go the way with it. But yeah, so it's difficult. And like I don't know whether his interviews where he's been unhappy is him in character or he's that genuinely unhappy. So I mean this would be sweeten the deal. Look, just to make it interesting, and so because he hasn't had the chance to be a minority yet, I'll go to Kesha.
Okay.
All right, so we got a Perry, but a couple of us think Takesha has a chance to finally make a big win here. Coming up next, we have the Women's Championship on the line. Our girl, Timeless Toni Storm, will take on the Stardom. Can't even read that. What does it say? Oh, Artist of Stardom champion, Mina Shirakawa. It's on me. Again, there's no knock. I'm just not too familiar with the Stardom people, and 100% don't see Toni Storm ending and Mina randomly being a full-time person here. They set up a little bit here, at least with Toni and their relationship here and whatnot. So she's had some of the better screen time on television versus some of the other ones. But yeah, Toni's not done here, and not in this match. Richie?
Yeah, Mariah May's in the corner of both of them. Remember?
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I don't think you don't end Toni Storm's reign here. I don't think that they haven't really. Yeah, I just think there's much love to Mina Shirakawa. She's good, but she's not the person to in Toni Storm's reign. I think she's one of the hardest people in the company, physically and momentum wise, and so I'll go Toni Storm. You don't want to stunt her momentum.
Yeah.
Right.
Alrighty, Pez, are you timeless like us?
Yeah, no, I think this might be the first one where we all clean sweep it this time. Actually, for Toni. I don't see Shirakawa just coming in and taking this title when she's not even really a full-time performer. Again, their segments have been fun, but Mina and her boobs that she likes to show off will not defeat Toni Storm tonight.
So sorry, Mina, but we are going with our timeless girl here. Wow. Speaking of championship matches, Mercedes Moné defends the TBS title. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. This is the title versus title. So this one actually does have a couple stakes in the line. It's the New Japan Strong Women's Champion, Stephanie Vaquer. All right. Who's walking over not one but two titles, Richie?
Mercedes Moné. I think this is maybe. I'm going to guess this might be a clean sweep as well. Just because, I don't see them putting this Stephanie Vaquer as so I know. I don't know if they're going to put the TBS title on her, and I just think again, it's momentum. It's about momentum. Mercedes Moné, it's only newly sort of to the company, still got momentum. One of the more popular people in the company, one biggest star in the company. You don't take the belt off her yet, Mercedes Moné.
Yeah, I'm also going Mercedes. It's just her second pay-per-view match. Yeah, she's not dropping this title. She's going to pick up a little more gold here. I'm not terribly familiar with Stephanie Vaquer. I know the name. They've seen some clips here and there. But, once again, having somebody come in, like from New Japan, it's more just for the match. I'm sure it'll be a good match, but she's not going to come in and take one of the full-time titles. So, yeah, I'll go Mercedes.
Yeah, I'm even more certain on this one than the other one here that it's going to be Mercedes, even more than Toni. She's not done yet. I don't think Mercedes is coming to AEW to lose her title this quickly. Plus, also too, I think in a way, making this title versus title has made me even that more insecure because because it's the Strong Women's Championship. A lot of time because it's the Strong title. It's not the New Japan title. It's defended in the States a lot. So I could see this also being just a good, easy way of getting it off of Vaquer, who's a plane ride over from a whole other country and whatnot, and probably can't even make all the dates anyway. I'm gonna say Moné walks away.
Yeah, because they do a bunch of those New Japan strong shows. Like they've done something like with Seattle, DC, San Francisco. I've seen a few of those cards bumping around. Yeah, Moxley shows up on those things like that. Yeah, Eddie Kingston. So a bunch of those shows in the United States.
Now I alerted to Pez earlier that not all the matches had great graphics. I could not find one. Maybe it's out there. I apologize because the next graphic is. It's Samoa Joe, Katsuyori Shibata, and Hook versus the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho, Big Bill, and it's not Brian Keith. I'm forgetting who the other person is.
Was it Suzuki? But then he said, not Minoru. Was it Minoru? But then he said in an interview, I don't want to be in the Learning Tree. So I don't know.
Hold on, I'll tell you in a second here. How's everyone doing? How's your day, Brian?
Yeah. I thought it was Brian Keith when I looked it up, but
Jeff
did they
Cobb.
replace
Jeff
him?
Cobb.
Oh, Jeff Cobb.
Is
Okay,
being
good.
listed as Jeff Cobb. Yeah, who at one point was also listed as a defending his title from New Japan, but now he's just in the learning tree here. So yeah, Jeff Cobb is your sixth person here. So yeah, where are we at, Richie? I don't know who we on.
Yeah, I think
Richie went. Did you say Mercedes first last time? I think so.
Oh yeah, I did actually. Yeah. So
okay, so it's on me. It's on me. Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, this is another kind of trickier one because Joe and Hooker are still kind of a fresh team. Yeah, fresh little sort of kick-ass faction, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if do they have a name yet, JP, or they're just like together, just the kick-ass guy. I don't know. Like
I've never seen them listed as anything yet. No.
Yeah, Beat Your Ass Incorporated, whatever you want to call them. So I mean, again, I think it'll be a strong match. I kind of see, since the trios thing, the learning tree sort of squeaking it out with some kind of heel tactics that Jericho will use or something. So, they'll keep Jericho strong, but you could pin Shibata or something. It wouldn't, hurt that much. So I like the addition of Jeff Cobb to the match, so that should be fun. So I'll go with the learning tree. Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm going to look up something real quick here again, because that also just kind of goes into my logic of who's going to walk away the winner. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna go learning tree as well here. It's easy to go either way because this is kind of a new tag team / faction if you include Shibata, obviously. So, but at the same time, I feel like I'm predicting a lot of New Japan losses. You know what I mean? We're saying Vakura's gonna lose. We're saying Tony's gonna win. We're saying, spoiler, maybe another match. I'll say the American guy's gonna win. So, I think here Jeff Cobb has a title. And Learning Tree is kind of a newer faction, and they can do some shenanigans. And it's Jericho, so I'm going to say Learning Tree walks away with the dub. Richie?
Yeah, I think maybe that this is there's more there's more feud here to be had with Hook and Joe's tag team, and maybe Shibata as they're going forward. So I think maybe to build that feud, you do the learning tree, and someone from New Japan's got to win eventually. So you don't want to clean sweep it. I feel so. Yeah, I also probably go the learning tree with Jeff Cobb, but yeah. I thought it was Minoru because I think he was asked why, because he usually teams with Jericho. Then he was asked, I don't want to go in the, and he's like, I don't want to go in the learning tree. But I'll challenge you for your title. And then like, but I'll go learning tree.
Yeah.
All right.
Ask the people you live with, Richie, why do they feel a need to slam doors?
All the time. I don't know.
Is that necessary? Like, you can't just gently close the door. We just got to throw it closed. That's weird.
Yeah.
I just okay. Is that an Australia thing?
No. It's my gripe as well. So you're not one.
Anyways, go ahead, Jiffy.
So we're all predicting that this is not going to happen. There has been raised.
No, it's the other one we're not showing.
This guy's
that
going
guy.
to win. That's Big Bill. Let's say that's Big Bill.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy versus Zack Sabre Jr. And this is just it's a match, y'all. All right. Going to me. I could see some potential Don Callis shenanigans, and I feel like Sabre's lost before on Forbidden Door more than one. I'm going to start off by saying Zack Sabre picks up the win. Also piggybacking off of from last time that enough losing to where maybe this is kind of a way to get a win here. Although it's always a good idea to back Orange Cassidy. What you thinking? Yeah. So far, Sabre has losses, both two Forbidden Door appearances.
One wasn't Danielson last year, right? Yeah.
It was. No,
it was going to be Danielson. That never happened.
And then there's a four-way where he actually lost to Cassidy, as far as Cassidy picked up the actual pinfall. So so like I said, he's 0-2 and whatnot. So Richie, what you think?
Again, weird match on paper, but we've said that with Orange Cassidy matches before, and then that's been.
I don't agree that it's a weird match on paper at all anymore. He's proven to be a top notch guy.
I know.
So.
We said that with Will Ospreay, and that match was.
Great. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's no longer. I no longer think that way because he's he's debunked our idea already. So at this
Yeah,
point, it
yeah,
makes complete
yeah.
sense.
Yeah. So, but like, yeah, I think there probably will be a bit of shenanigans. Maybe Trent will get, I could see Trent
Yeah.
getting involved. So I will say a Zack Sabre Jr.
I need 2 for ZSJ. Are you ZSJ or are you OC?
No, I'm actually going to go. I want to make it a sweep here because I think Sabre could not only use the Forbidden Door win, for once, but also, like we were saying, this is a match where you can put the New Japan guy over, and I don't think it'll hurt. Orange doesn't have a title right now. They'll still have a great match. I think that, Sabre will stretch the shit out of him and have some fun with that. So, yeah, I think this is one where Sabre could stand on top on this one, and it'll be fine. So I'll go with New Japan this time. I'll go with Zach.
Yeah. OC gets a lot of love. We're thinking ZSJ is going to get something tonight. Next up, the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship is on the line. Jon Moxley defends against Tetsuya Naito, who had, don't forget, too, one of my favorite kind of promos. John's not just going to beat him, he's going to literally murder him.
We will see a sanctioned murder on Sunday night in Long Island, New York.
Richie,
Excellent. Sounds
do you
good.
predict a successful murder, or will Naito somehow get the win and not be murdered?
I mean, like, we thought we saw a murder in WWE and it never happened. So I don't believe murder happens anymore.
No, that's just a pet peeve of mine. Like, I'm all about, like, I'll beat the shit out of you. It's gonna be hard to walk. Hold your kid.
I'll cripple you. I'll put you in the hospital.
I'll
something
put you
like
in
that.
a pine box. Like, no,
Yeah,
you're not.
right,
You're
come
gonna
on.
you're gonna hit him with a DDT. Maybe your both will be bloody. Fuck you. You'll walk tomorrow. Like, stop.
And then, especially when you're not even in a blood feud. You're just two guys who want the title.
They did a pretty bloody match in New Japan, to be fair, on that case, and that's why but it's still not like no one like hit their kids or anything. They're just two competitive guys. Like,
Yeah.
I still just don't see the need of threatening his life. That's all.
Yeah, it's weird. But yeah, I don't see them like changing the title on this show. So I'll go Moxley, but it's tougher to predict than other IWGP World Championship matches and Forbidden Door in the past. But I'll still go Jon Moxley here. I think he's still doing well as world champion, and I don't know if Naito's the guy to beat him just yet. I think so I'll go Moxley.
I don't think this was the intention, but the photos look like Naito's like mocking Moxley, like, "Oh, I got glasses too."
Oh, glasses.
Yeah, that's just Naito's shtick. I don't know his got.
Yeah.
I never really figured out what that meant. Perez, what you got?
I think you can change this title. I think you can change the IWGP title on a New Japan crossover show with a New Japan guy and have him take back home the Japanese title that this American guy is hanging on to right now. I think that's one you can do. And I'm going to say Naito does take the title from Moxley because they do have a little bit of a backstory. And again, I don't think Moxley would be hurt if he loses this Japanese title he's been hanging on to. Like, I think that's fine. And he can get back into some more juicier feuds, just in AEW. So I think this is one where you can change the title and give it back to New Japan here. So I'm going to take Naito.
Only reason I don't like your pick, Pez. I wanted to be the brave one to say that. God damn it.
Oh, sorry. I took the words out of your mouth. My apologies.
No, because I do think, like, you know what I mean? Like, this is the New Japan title. So, like, Naito taking it back to his home country can make sense here. He lives there. So, like, now he can do all the shows instead of some of the shows and whatnot. And I also, too, think I'll also throw out the other logic of we're now, however many is into this Forbidden Door. This is what, number 3 or 4 or whatever. Mm-hmm. You kind of need to maybe start, like, doing brave title changes like this, or else like the next time the New Japan title is defended, you're gonna go, well, it's probably just me fucking successful defense. Like, you kind of need to throw. I wouldn't say this is a huge curveball, but this would be one of the bigger title changes we've seen as far as like company wise. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, the New Japan title changing on AEW soil would be pretty cool and different. So I'm actually we're 2 against 1. It's Naito actually taking away the title.
Right.
I will say it's hard to predict in years past because if it's like Tanahashi, they always put Tanahashi in that spot.
Right.
I'm like,
Right, and it's been kind of predictable, and that's what I'm saying. Like, now this is like, okay, from what I can gather, I don't watch New Japan Weekly, but what I can gather, like, Naito seems big enough to where he could take it in like a normal show. Why not this show?
He's a
in
former
match
champion, anyways. It's not like he's not a star in New Japan. He's one of the top.
Oh
New
no, of
Japan
course,
guys.
and that's what I'm saying. And they had
Yeah.
a big bloody match recently, so like they could go toe to toe. This could easily be a good solid 25-minute match, 20, 25, whatever. And a match that is I don't want to say confusing because I like what I've seen of Hechishiro. Just didn't necessarily see this one coming. It's just the way to get MJF on the card, unless there's a swerve here. Yeah, MJF versus Hechishiro. Just again, straight up little good old singles match here. Nothing really in stakes as far as we know at the moment. Who's next?
Me, I think. So
yeah, go for it.
Given the fact that this was originally supposed to be Roosh and then they did that on free TV, there's a 0% chance Hechicero wins this match. MJF 100% wins this, and I think this might be actually the easiest one on the card to predict. Yeah, MJF is not losing his big pay-per-view return match. It's 100% MJF.
Yeah, I can't really, again, unless there's some sort of weird swerve that like it's not Hechicero, it's Wardlow in a mask. Like, I don't see how.
I think we would, but I think we would see a 7-foot guy that's supposed to be Hechicero. It's JBL, we're going to talk about a show where the announcers claimed it was Sting, but it was a 7-foot guy in a Sting mask that clearly wasn't Sting. Yeah, they tried to play it off like it was Sting. It'd be the same situation. You're like, what? No, that doesn't make sense.
So unless there's some sort of weird swerve, like, this is, I think, just a simple way of like MJF's back. Who's kind of around? All right, that's Forbidden Door-ish enough, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. Richie, any disagreement here?
No, I mean, that was meant to be MJF and Roosh, but I think there's some reasons for whatever I heard that CMML doesn't like Roosh and they didn't want him representing him or something. Then was something like there's some bad blood there, so they had to do the
I heard that too.
Yeah,
they had to do some they had to do it on free TV, which would have been a intriguing match, but MJF sort of would have won because MJF's not losing this early. I actually think we'll get to it, but I think there's a much bigger opponent in store for MJF down the line. That they're already building to. So I'll go MJF.
Mm-hmm. All right, our scumbag probably welcome with the win. Not as bad as the Lernergy graphic, but I can only find a blurry one in the corner here. Another trios match.
There you go.
Hiroshi Tanahashi. There's your Hiroshi Tanahashi appearance. Teaming up with the Acclaimed of Max Caster and Anthony Bowens. Take on the Elite. There's your Okada match as well as the Young Bucks match. I personally would have just preferred a tag title match. But I guess you need the Forbidden Door guys, I suppose. So, because again, it just feels like another kind of like, all right, whatever, trios match. Let's see. It's me. Titles aren't on the line, but Okada's in it. I'm thinking I'm just going to say the Elite's going to walk away. I think they got the titles. Obviously, this is a match they could lose because they're not going to lose any titles here. But I feel like they want to make Okada look strong and whatnot. So, I don't know. Richie, what you thinking?
It's weird because as much as I like Tanahashi and Okada, they almost take away from the match because it makes sense. Yeah, like because the Acclaim pinned Young Bucks. Like, do the next logical steps. Do
it's a juicier match than like our third trios this night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And then it's like okay. But because it's a trios, I'll go the Elite. But if it was a straight up tag team title match, I might be a bit more tricky to predict.
Yeah, when we get to that, I could see maybe the Acclaim. We'll get to that when we get to that. All right, basically the daddy ass of Lonely Mark. What are you thinking?
No, I mean, again, your idea, JV, of like, there's only technically one other tag match, and that's on the pre-show. So, like, it'd be better if we had just a straight up tag team match here with the Elite.
We have enough trios, man.
Yeah, and it's like you still have Okada out there with them, doing some shenanigans or something. I don't know.
I would even maybe done tag and no offense. Maybe take MJF off and do Okada and Tanahashi. Like, I don't know. That sounds cool.
Yeah, that would be cooler. Yeah, and have like
then you got 2 more title matches.
Well, straight up Japanese match because Tanahashi and Okada have had matches in New Japan and they've been really good. So
that's something we've never seen in AEW. Plus, there's 2 title matches that have.
So
this feels like a Dynamite main event or a Collision main event.
Yeah, it kind of does. So for that reason, I'm gonna take the Elite here, and I think we might get burned on trios matches, but it'll probably still be a good match. But because it's not just a tag match, I'll take the Elite. Yeah.
All right, well, I mean, we're all in agreement that the Elite are still walking away with the win here.
Mhm.
Almost there, penultimate as far as I have on my graphics.
This should be a really
Owen
fucking
Hart,
good match, by the way.
Match
uh,
rule.
quarterfinal.
I'll take now. It's match rules. That hasn't happened yet, but it
Shingo
will.
Takagi. I'll try to finish my intro. What you thinking, Richie? Danielson and Takagi.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This match rules. Even though I haven't seen it, it's going to be good. There's no way this match is not good. Yeah. I mean, this is tricky because, like Brian Danielson, obviously, sort of, it's no secret. This is his last year. Especially this last year as like a full-time wrestler. He's never going to step away fully for a long time. So he says. But yeah, but he has, he has put other people over, and I could see like Shingo Takagi winning it, but I could. I'll go Brian Danielson, because I don't know, how long Shingo Takagi's willing to stick around, but I'll go Brian Danielson. Yeah, just because I just think I no logic really. I just think I'll go Brian Danielson.
All right, final countdown. Pez, what you thinking?
No, I mean, I think Danielson could use a big pay-per-view win here. He had the match with Ospreay and, didn't come out victorious in that one. I think you can make him look strong in this tournament, at least make it to the semifinals, if not the finals. And yeah, I don't think Shingo's going to like stick around for long. This is going to be like one of those appearances. I love Shingo. I wish it'd be cool if he made more appearances because he's great. And he's a good guy too. I hung out with Applebee's with him. He's a cool dude. One time after an FIP show, just on a personal level, cool dude. Nice guy, but I think Danielson will take this one and move on and keep going on in this tournament. So I'll take Danielson.
I just realized why, because I was about to agree with you earlier with the Danielson and Zack Sabre match. That was like Wrestle Dream.
I thought about that and I was like, oh yeah, they didn't actually, wasn't it? It was like Sabre and Claudio, I think, or something.
Claudio had to replace Danielson, and they
Right.
did do it at Wrestle Dream, which is the last time to go with. I was looking up for your point. That's Danielson's last singles win.
Right.
Which is October of last year. So since then, it's either been losses or multi-mans. So yeah, no, I'm pretty assuredly going to go Danielson here. I think, again, you just got to look at it. It's an Owen Hart match on top of, being, Forbidden Door. So who's going to be around every week? Yeah, they could Takagi bring him to the States for a little while here. Pets has mentioned refereeing for him before, so he's done obviously excursions here. And I've been a fan of it since then. I was a Ring of Honor FIP DVD guy, and then even a Dragon Gate fan of his, and I was very happy when I saw he was in New Japan because I was always a fan of his from his Dragon Gate days. But no, I think Danielson, because also too, I think he may win the whole damn thing. So I definitely don't see him screwing out of this tournament this early. So a little bit of trepidation here, but I think we are thinking American Dragons walking away with the victory. And now our ultimate match of the night. We thought all three of us, I think, thought it was going to be later as far as a pay-per-view, like All In, but we're getting it now. The Forbidden Door. Swerve Strickland defends the title against already a reigning champion, another non-title match, technically, because international title's not on the line, as Will Ospreay is his opponent here. So, what are we at? Back up to Pez?
I think we're back up to me, yeah. And again, we all are pretty much in agreement. We talked about it that I think they're pulling the trigger on this match way too soon. Like, I thought they would at least wait another 2 or 3 months on this or something. I just think it's too early to do this. Not that you couldn't do a rematch down the line, but like I was kind of thrown off when Will won that what was that gauntlet thing or whatever and got this title shot. I just thought that was weird, just way too early. I think he's got more to do as the international champion, that upper kind of mid card.
Why'd they even do that?
Yeah, why do that if you're just gonna then have him face the world champion like immediately? I just that weird. All the booking has been weird. Not that the matches haven't been good, but like the booking's just odd. And then I think I'm gonna say that Swerve still sticks it out here, mostly because I think we'll finally see the falling out between Will and Don Callis in this match. I think Callis will do something to kind of make the relationship fall apart or cost him the title or something involving Callis and the Callis family will do something to prevent Will. So Will could take the loss here via shenanigans and not look like weak or anything. You know what I mean? Like he can take the loss, but because of outside stuff, maybe go back to feuding with the Callis family for a little while, back off the title a little bit, and then get it back in the picture later. Something like that. But yeah, I think Swerve will take it, but there will be some what do we call overbooking or just some shenanigans, overbooking, whatever you want to call it, in this thing. But Swerve will keep the title at the end of it.
Oh boy, because I've gone back and forth in this match.
Yeah, right. I could, by the way, completely see all that happening, and Will ends up with the title. Like I can completely see that happening. So I don't know.
Because again, I could just see, all right, well, Will takes it here, and he walks into All In with the title here, and then fights whoever. Whether that's a Danielson rematch, that sounds cool. All right,
MJF.
Technically, All In last time was a rematch. We had seen MJF and Cole fight before, so it's not like that's not possible. But then, are we done with Swerve? I think he's still pretty over here. And do we end it now? There's so much shenanigans. You still got him technically in that Callis family here. I'm also gonna go with you. Maybe I'm just riding your high a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
No, it's fine. Yeah,
it's just that logic of okay, you got the down Callis thing. Will Ospreay hold back on, they've also done the whole gimmick of he doesn't want to hit that particular maneuver, so that mind fuck him. Swerve could pick up on that, then maybe he hits that maneuver, or who knows, So, man, it's a tough one though. But I'm in agreement. Richie, feel free to join us, or feel free to fight us and maybe get a point.
No, I mean, I think booking logic has been, hit or miss with AEW for a little bit. Let's not forget this. There was a few weeks ago now where Roderick Strong got a title shot on TV because he said that he wasn't eliminated from the battle. He never actually got to compete in the Battle Royal, the gauntlet for the title. But it's
idea, by the way.
But it's so did 10 other people. They're not going to get a title shot. And then Tony Khan's
I wish they had done a backstage shot of everyone in the back, all geared up.
What the fuck?
It's over?
What?
I don't get to. What? What is the fucking rules in this shit again? That's such a weird concept. The match could end before everyone's even out there. I don't know. Weird.
But why did Tony Khan go, what a great idea? Why didn't you just go, no, screw you? That's not logic.
Every other match like that, War Games doesn't end until everybody's in. Royal Rumble doesn't end until everyone's in. It's just what? Okay.
I hate when companies, and this is not a Tony Khan thing. A lot of companies do this. I've had a fight with people in booking meetings where I'm like, hey, listen, I understand you want to come up with a new idea. Everyone does. But if it's dumb and overconvoluted, and if it ain't broken, don't fix it. If the Rumble's not a bad idea, just do a Rumble. Well, what if 3 people start, and then every 40 seconds the fourth one comes in? But the fifth one has to bring in a chair. No, just fucking have a Rumble. If they want to do a Rumble, have a Rumble.
No, we did the same thing. We had a show in Georgia, United Pro. We did a Rumble thing once a year. It was the same thing as the Federal. Just we had 20 members and 60-second intervals, but everything else was exactly the same as a Rumble. That's it. Nothing goofy, just like a Rumble, and it's fine.
If you come up with something organic, cool. But this was just this is just a good example of that. So much of that just doesn't track. Yeah, we'll just have a Rumble or have a 10-man gauntlet. Whatever you want to say. It's 20 unless they can finish. That's such a weird concept. That's silly.
Or TNA 2009 when Mike Tenay had to go through 30 rules to explain one match. I think it's just anyway. But I'm going to go Swerve here. I don't want this match to happen. This match, you're leaving. This is an old experiment, but you're leaving money on the table. This could be a huge moment for Will at Wembley. I mean, it still could be that, but you're cheapening. You're kind of lessening that a little bit. But I also feel that they're maybe building towards Will and MJF, which is okay. But I just feel like Will and Swerve for the main title is, a bigger match, sort of. It's a bigger match, but and I didn't agree with putting the mid cut the international title on in that early, especially because I think Roderick was just catching steam as well. So I haven't agreed with the booking all around here, but I'll go Swerve.
All right, I feel like we all agree it's a little bit of a tough one, but we're all agreeing Swerve may walk away, still your champion, and oh, that had a 14th graphic. All right, well there's your card.
Boop, 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 boop. There we go. Well, there you go. Yeah, no, we have 8 ones where we're agreeing on, but we still have 5 where we're all over the place. So, I think we got enough differences, where somebody will emerge.
And like you
with
said
that.
too, we'll see if a 4th pre-show gets added soon.
I wouldn't be surprised. They've done that before, where it's like the day of on
And I feel
Twitter,
like
and
I
this
feel like
person.
Forbidden Door has done that too, specifically. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I would not be surprised if they add another New Japan-ish thing, something like that. So, yeah, we'll get Jacob's prediction as well, see how that kind of plays out. But yeah, I mean, it still should be a solid show. They always deliver with the matches, so it'll be a long show, but it should still be a fun show. So, what do you say we switch gears? Let's talk about another fun show, in my opinion. Pretty solid, damn good show. Let's take a trip back in the time machine and talk a little something I wanted to do. This is one of my things for winning predictions. It's kind of summertime. It's beach season. Let's go back and talk a little Bash at the Beach. I consider 96 just because of how pivotal it is, but I feel like that show's kind of been talked to death. Let's see where they were a year later. WCW was still on top, still kicking ass in the ratings and whatnot. Still pretty hot. So let's talk a little Bash at the Beach. 1997 here. We are coming to you from the Ocean Center in Daytona Beach, Florida, where they would run multiple times for Bash at the Beach, as well as AEW, I believe, also ran one of those like Fight for the Fallens there. Still gets used for venues and whatnot. I seem to remember one of the early AEW shows getting run at the Ocean Center. I almost went to it when I was still in Jacksonville. But yeah, we got Dusty Rhodes, Tony Schiavone, Bobby the Brain Heenan at the table. Mike Tenay pops in and out depending on the matches and who's in it and whatnot. But yeah, overall, this was kind of famously, just to kick it out of there, Dennis Rodman in the main event, teaming with Hulk Hogan. So yeah, that kind of got a lot of press at the time, a lot of tidbits on ESPN and different newspapers and whatnot. Quite a lot of press. So, I mean, it did work as far as getting attention on the show. But yeah, we started things off here, as we do with kind of some of our sort of mid-card guys here. But got a tag match to kick things off. Wrath and Mortis, a.k.a. Chris Canyon, under a mask, taking on some karate guys with Glacier and Ernest the Cat Miller, who was still pretty fresh. I think Ernest the Cat Miller had only had a couple of matches at this point. He was still a fairly new face, as was Glacier at the time. But yeah, we kind of kick things off with a little brawl to start. All 4 guys kind of brawling around in the ring. Glacier finally sets off with Mortis. He hits a big double leg takedown, and then Mortis gets straddled on the rope, crotch first. Wrath then gets kicked by Cat off the top rope. Say what you will about Ernest Cat Miller, but in this match, all of his kicks look freaking amazing, and they look really, really good and really crisp when they just had him doing that. So I will give him full props as far as that goes. A lot of kicks in this match. But there's a double team from Glacier and Cat on Wrath as well. Cat hits a huge spinning wheel kick for a 2. There's a tag in. Wrath works over Cat a little bit in the corner, but Cat fights back with a big side kick and some thrust kicks. Hits a big bicycle kick to follow up and gets a 2 count. But Wrath eventually hits a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker on him, cuts him off. Wrath misses a springboard elbow, but then there's a double drop kick from Glacier and Cat to kind of take down the big man. But then Wrath fights back with a big brogue kick, his own kind of bicycle kick to Glacier. There's a big somersault on the outside from Wrath. He looked really good in this match. Very agile, Brian Clark did, flying all over the place. And then there's a really nasty spot where they hold a chair next to Glacier, sandwiched in between the post, and Mortis super kicked him. That looked really rough and probably rattled his brains a little bit. That looked gross. But Glacier fights back, eventually gets Mortis, but he gets caught with a lariat to get cut off. There's a powerbomb neckbreaker combo to Glacier, but Cat stops the pin. They kind of do a weird thing where Wrath does like a reverse Boston Crab, that weird thing where he's like standing forward, like pulling forward on him. Always kind of a strange looking spot, a little bit weird. And then follows up with a guillotine leg drop for a 2 count. Mortis misses a big moonsault. There's Cat jumps in and just kind of has had enough. Hits a couple of, I wrote, fucking awesome kicks to everybody. He just starts wheel kicking and then side kicking everybody in sight, just back and forth, back and forth. Again, I thought he looked really good here. Glacier eventually hits a DDT to Mortis, but the manager, James Vanderberg, puts a feet on the ropes and then gives Mortis a chain. He slides a chain onto his boot, and then Mortis super kicks Glacier with that chain and gets the 3 count here. Overall, I thought a pretty fun opener. really exciting, entertaining, pretty fast paced here. Mortis had some good innovative moves, and yeah, again, I thought the Cat looked really good with all of his offense. But I don't know, JPO, any thoughts on this opener here? I thought it was pretty fun.
No, it up. Shout out to the Cat. This only being his 9th match ever.
Wow.
Yeah, this dude is pretty spanking fresh new. Put with Glacier right away. His first ever match with Glacier. And then they would work a lot, and then by like his 4th match, 13 or so. Other than that, I didn't see any of this pay-per-view. I didn't get to it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, gotcha. I thought you posted you were watching it the other night. I guess, yeah.
I might have once it started, and then life got in the way.
Gotcha. Okay, no, I totally understand. Well, pull up some tidbits about each guy involved in the matches or anything. Yeah, pull up some tidbits, fun stuff for us. Start looking up Ultimate Dragon facts around this time, or Chris Jericho facts.
And, and Ernest Miller, by the way, one of the people in the MLW Battle Riot. So
I was going to say, well, we had that thing about, you posted something about, I did not have on my bingo card, Violent J and Minoru Suzuki trading shots. Add to that also Ernest the Cat Miller trading shots with Suzuki in a corner during that matchup. I didn't have that on my bingo card either. So yeah, no, shout out to Ernest Miller, still working, still making appearances.
And but his longest match, by the way, him and Joe Janela did go almost 13 minutes back in 2022. Other than that, it's a lot of like 2 to 5 minute matches.
Joe
Janela got a singles match, 13 minutes out of him.
Nice. Yeah, no, I was going to say, even Bash of the Beach 99, or not, Great American Bash, 99, that me and Malcolm viewed, Cat and Horace only going about 5 minutes, as it should have. So,
that sounds horrible.
And there was a crossover match that I'll get to on that pay-per-view as well, the Great American Bash 99 from this pay-per-view. So that was kind of a weird coincidence when I watched this. But yeah, Richie, any thoughts on this opener here?
Yeah, just full disclosure too, I only just recently watched this, about a month ago, so I didn't really, I still sort of fresh in my mind, so I kind of so I was just like, this was one of the ones I'm like, okay, I watched it. I watched it for something else recently, but yeah, no, I've always liked Mortis. I think people got the shit on the gimmick a lot. Because obviously that they're trying to get it. Mortal Kombat was a huge thing around this time, and it was just starting to kick off. And they're like, hey, we want to be on Mortal Kombat. We'll get Mortis, we'll get Wrath. And then obviously Glacier, and then it was just like, but I thought
as a kid, I was bummed we never got figures. Like I kept waiting for a Glacier and a Mortis figure to pop up, and they never did.
Do they have one now?
They got micro brawlers for sure. I don't think anyone.
Yeah, I've got a micro brawler Glacier.
Yeah, that's about as close as you're gonna get.
Okay.
Glacier did get a WCW card. Remember they all had cars.
Oh yeah,
There's
the
a Glacier
sets.
card.
Yeah, I had a at one point I had a Big Papa Pump like monster truck or something. It was something weird. I don't know.
Weird. Like all the C-listers got cars. I guess they just were easier to make. There's a Glacier car. I think there is a Mortis car. There's like y'all have cars. La Parka. There's no La Parka figure. There's a La Parka car.
How was that on a La Parka figure? Come on.
That's what I'm saying. Like there might be now, but like back at no WCW. I'll totally edit because that's what I mean. As a kid, I was like, I want the La Parkas and the Glaciers.
It's like some of those cool character base guys, more than like the main event guys.
And one more side fun fact though. Ernest Miller bookended with Canyon at Greed. He fights Canyon, the last WCW paper.
I see.
So he bookended with Canyon.
Yeah,
his career in WCW.
Yeah, Richie. Any other thoughts on this?
Yeah,
from what you can remember, or whatever.
No. I remember it's a good match. It was a good match. Yeah, Ernest Miller's a weird dude because like at the start he was I thought like he was very impressive, and I think it was one of those ones where he regressed the more experience he had. It was weird, but from memory, I think I thought this match was really good. It was real fun opener. But yeah, I thought they could do more with Mortis.
You're muted, JPO, if you're trying to say something. Oh, you're muted.
Oh no, I'm saying hi to Chris Cass's stream. I just wanted to jump in.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. All right, so, no, for sure.
I asked, did I win? I didn't.
Oh, okay. You didn't win the battle royal. All right, gotcha. All right, we're moving on. They move right along. This show moves quickly. There's not a whole lot of like backstage shenanigans or anything like that. Pretty much go match to match here. We've got a cruiserweight title match. We've got the champion Chris Jericho, who will be watching Still Wrestling this coming Sunday as part of the Learning Tree, different character. So again, shout out to Jericho for still, being at it, doing his thing against the Ultimate Dragon, who I don't know if he's still active anywhere. I know he's still around, but maybe JB up to see if he's had any matches lately.
He was pretty active.
Yeah, yeah.
No, still in Japan. Pretty regular in Japan. Yeah.
Okay, I thought he was still around at least in some capacity, but yeah, Ultimo Dragon here taking on Chris Jericho, the cruiserweight champion. This crowd, by the way, was weird tonight. They got into like stuff later in the show, but I felt like they were fairly quiet for most of the first half of this thing.
That's from my memory too. That's all kind
yeah, because this match in particular, I'll just say this match rules, and the crowd is like dead quiet during the whole thing. It's weird. These guys are busting their asses, jumping all over the place, doing all kinds of stuff, and they're just kind of like lightly applauding. Like I thought it was weird, but I've also seen matches where Ultimate Dragon's in and he gets monster pops and huge reactions. I don't get it. I guess the Daytona crowd was just asleep tonight. I don't know. But yeah, there's some good back and forth kind of chain wrestling to start out with. They trade monkey flips and arm drags, have a standoff. They don't even get the polite applause standoff. That was where I was like, are you guys awake for this? Are you watching? Do you not care about wrestling? Okay. We're having a wrestling show here. But yeah, there's Ultimate Dragon does kind of the Nigel McGuinness little headstand on the turnbuckle kick little thing that Nigel would do. So maybe Nigel saw him do it and stole a little something from Ultimate Dragon. But yeah, a series of body kicks as he was known to do and back kicks from Dragon. Kind of in control here. Jericho fights back with a double power bomb, but only gets a 2 count. There's a quick back suplex from the Dragon. Top rope standing moonsault from Jericho that only gets a 2 count. And then he drop kicks him on the floor. There's a big old plancha that Jericho hits over the top rope to the floor as one of his kind of signature moves. Tries a big axe handle, but catches a boot while he's up there. Both guys get on top, and there's kind of a weird spot where they both try to do like sort of some kind of maneuver, and Dragon just kind of falls to the floor a little bit. But they recover real quickly, do a little snap suplex on the floor from Jericho. He goes for his big apron crossbody, but misses. Then Ultimate Dragon hits his huge acai moonsault from the ropes to the outside. Big, at least got a pop for that one. Back inside, he hits a standing hurricanrana, but only gets a 2 count. And then he goes for, there's a bunch of series of cradles back and forth. Jericho eventually tries to get a cradle and hold the ropes, but he doesn't get the 3 count. Another series of cradles and roll-ups for only 2. Big Insecurity to Jericho on the outside. But then back in, Jericho hits a lion salt and goes for a bridge afterwards, but only gets 2. Ultimate Dragon tries to fight back with the Dragon Sleeper, tries to get a tap out, but doesn't do it. And then Jericho is able to fight back, hits a standing Hurricane Dragon hits a Hurricane Rana, but Jericho rolls through the Rana and actually rolls through and gets a pin on Ultimate Dragon kind of out of nowhere. So Jericho able to retain the title here in what was a pretty damn great match, maybe a little bit ahead of his time. You do this match on an indie show or in AEW today, and I think it actually works pretty well. So maybe they were just Daytona crowd just wasn't feeling the lucha action. But Richie, anything you remember about this one right here?
I think traditionally, I don't know if like maybe around this time, like maybe a higher crowds would know not to be that great, because I remember like maybe it was like more early 90s. I remember like they did a King of the Ring there or something in WWE, and they refused to say that they're in Daytona. They just said like, you know, a great place in Ohio. They just said Ohio. They didn't actually say what suburb they were in or something. And there was some.
What's the Ohio stuff come from?
No, not Ohio. Daytona. What? Not where's Daytona?
We're in Florida. Florida. That's the beach.
Florida. Okay.
Florida beaches. They're not. Ohio doesn't have any beaches.
Oh my bad. America. I don't know. Geography.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. This match. I remember that this was one of the better better matches on the card. But yeah, it is weird. Maybe certainly there'd be conditioned at one point, like. Sometimes if you condition the crowd, like, hey, as good as this match is, they're only going to be at a certain level. But yeah, like you could probably just look at the match in isolation and then this match is really good. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was just a crowd that was like, you know, just here for the stars sort of thing. But yeah, this match ruled. I really liked Ultimate Dragon around this time. I think I can make an argument that he maybe should be like an outside like Hall of Famer kind of thing, even though he was like, you know, he had a small WWE run, but yeah, obviously don't, you know, I wouldn't sort of count that into his legacy necessarily. But yeah, I thought this match was really good. One of the things I liked about cruiserweight matches at the time is, especially, it was like, you know, like usually like there's a very full, like finishes would be very formulaic. but and like they go back, do a good back and forth, hit a finisher, and you win. But like I like the idea that matches could end at any time where it's just, just a simple roll up or their signature move. It doesn't it would actually I feel like I guess what I'm saying is like moves meant more sometimes. It's not like last second kick. It was just like no, it matched at any time kind of thing. So this is sort of an example of that. It was just like a very great back and forth sort of match there.
Yeah, JPO, any fun facts about either of these guys you want to throw out there, or anything related to these two good gentlemen?
So between CMLL, War, a couple other companies in WCW, these two, in one way or another, 6-man tags, 74 times they would share a ring together. 74 times these two have shared a ring together. Only a few times in WCW. They would have their final match 1 year later on a Thunder. Jericho would defeat Dragon once again here. In fact, Jericho always defeated Dragon as far as WCW went. Oh, no, that's not true. Their first match, actually, Dragon got the win. And then all the other ones, Jericho got the win from. And also looking up real quick, I believe Jericho really enjoyed the armbar, I'm reading.
Armbar.
Yeah, I heard the fan. So.
Yeah. All right. We have a quick little segment with Mean Gene. He strolls over to the front row where Raven is sitting there with Stevie Richards, as he was known to do for a lot of these shows. He had a very easy gig around this time and a gimmick where he just sat in the front row for a lot of shows and didn't do anything and just cut a promo, once a show. So, and only stepped in the ring every now and then. He cuts a promo. I have no idea what he's talking about. He just rambles about something. Just for a while.
It was sort of Bray Wyatt promos for Bray Wyatt.
No, that's 100% Bray Wyatt promos where he's just rambling about like society and the children of something and etiquette, and I don't know what he's talking about. He just rambles about nothing. Stevie finally, Gene turns it over to Stevie. Raven is generally disgusted anytime Stevie opens his mouth, but he's a lot more jovial. Hey, Raven, hey, what's going on? Good job. And so eventually he's just kind of going on and on. Gets to a point where he goes, hey, Raven, tell him about the announcement you're going to make tomorrow night. And Raven just clocks him right there. Just hits Stevie, knocks him down, just starts berating him. And Mean Gene gets the hell out of there. So, it was just kind of the thing where Stevie was made to be kind of Raven's little flunky and little geek, partner. And they did this shtick for a little while. So, yeah, I'm sure you remember some of the stuff, Rich, they would do.
I remember Stevie sort of not changing his gear from like, ECW, where he'd have like the quarter shirt, where then Daisy with like
Daisy Dukes and a quarter shirt. Yeah, that's what he's wearing there.
It's like think of the band Cinderella at one point. It had all these like quarter shirt band shirts, and I never really didn't really like. I remember like because this went on for a while, and then eventually like Sick Boy and stuff would end into the mix. So I'm like, it's supposed to make me care about your faction when you don't give a shit. You're making me like. You're treating the other people like they're fucking nothing. Raven's Raven's booking in WCW wasn't great, but then he went to WWE and it got worse. So
it wasn't even that great either. So I feel like the only time you ever was really a star was ECW, and it was really bad. They were treated like a star. Because the Flock was always treated as kind of a geek faction, other than Saturn, who got a push eventually.
Saturn got really over at one point.
Saturn got over as a badass, but everybody else, Reese, Kidman eventually obviously broke out eventually once he got out of the Flock. Hammer's a geek, Lodi's a geek, all those guys are geeks. So which is fine. We moved on to another tag team encounter. We got our kind of scary mean guy match of the evening, which I was looking forward to, as we got the Steiner brothers taking on the Great Muta and Masahiro Chono. So not exactly like Meat Madness, but kind of a scary mean guy match because Chono and Muta are kind of mean Japanese guys. There's kind of they jump the Steiners to get started, but the Steiners eventually fight back with kind of their double clotheslines and some shoulder blocks and do their little pose, where Scott, gets on top of Rick, and they do the kind of dog poses and whatnot. So they kind of start isolating Chono, some kicks to the chest, some chops and strikes. Eventually, Muta tags in, but Scott cuts him off with a big gut wrench power bomb and a gorilla press slam. Again, looking Scott Steiner looking in. It's funny, around this time he looks like a if you blended like 1992 Scott Steiner with Big Papa Pump, like if you put him in a machine, like pushed them together, because he's like got the massive, bulk of Scott Steiner, but he's still got like the goatee and the dark, jet black hair and a ponytail, of like early Scott. So it's like if you just smashed him in a machine. So it's a fascinating time for Steiner.
It feels like he's going through a bit of a midlife crisis sort of thing a bit. He's in the check. Yeah, going through. It's like, man, did you get kicked out of your house and you just live in the gym now or something?
No, 100%. But he's massive in this match. Yeah, he's a huge, massive man. But eventually, Rick gets tagged in. He faces up with Chono, but Chono hits a big mafia kick to him. But then Rick's able to fight back with a big overhead suplex, as he was one to do quite a few times in this match. Actually, there's a big electric chair to drop to Chono. For a 2 count. Muda eventually gets the tag back in, fights back with a handspring elbow and the snap elbow, some of his kind of signature moves. It's another tag to Chono, but Scott herks him up to the top rope and hits a huge top rope overhead belly-to-belly suplex. I feel like he did this to a lot of different guys, just throwing them damn near 3/4 of their plate across the ring. Always impressive. Tags Rick back in. That was a big suplex to Muda. And then he does these really cool kind of hanging belly-to-belly throws where he kind of herks him up in like a bear hug and then tosses him over. He does that to both Muda and Chono a couple of times. They always look great. Rick, again, very underrated as kind of a big, strong guy. Dude was, had that kind of farm strength as well. So he hits a couple of those. In the background, Scott hits a rolling belly-to-belly suplex to Muda. So just suplexing dudes all over the place. And then there's a big Frankensteiner from the Great Muda actually doing a big top rope one to Scott, but only gets a 2 count. There's some leg whips to Rick. Again, some more kind of handspring elbows and whatnot. He tries to do one to Rick, but Rick catches him and then turns it around into a German suplex. That was a great spot.
That looked gnarly.
Yeah, he just caught him, spins him around, and just chucks him right backwards. It was pretty great. And then Scott inside the ring hits a standing Frankensteiner to the Great Muda. And then as Chono's kind of preoccupied, they get Muda up to the top rope and hit a nasty-looking top rope DDT to the Muda and get the 3 count, kind of a double team there. Again, I felt like it was kind of a bit of a styles clash, and the chemistry was a little off at the beginning, but they really got back into it. And when it was the Steiners just suplexing them all over the place, it was a hell of a lot of fun still to watch. So, Richie, any thoughts on this tag team match? It was still pretty fun, really entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just, I realize that's just my style of like, I like brawlers like that. I get, like that's why I gravitate towards those wrestlers. That's probably why. I mean, my love for the Steiners is probably why I'm really high on Braun Breaker at the moment, because he's just obviously cut from that cloth. But yeah, like he's so great, so intense, and yeah, like they just like the fact that they can mesh power with like just raw talent as well, and yeah, like that. I remember that DDT that was gnarly, but yeah, like that'd be safe, but also make it look like very violent. But yeah, I also this was around the time too that they would, any Japanese person that they would say that they're from the Orient.
The Orient, yeah. Mike Tenay is always very fascinated with the Orient. Yes,
so, like, you can't say Japan. Okay, all right, fair enough. But yeah. It is weird too. I always thought this, like, because Great Muda was sort of came out with a handspring elbow. I'm like, I wonder how he would feel about like the fact that like the majority of people who do that move after him now are like chicks. Like I just noticed that
chicks in NXT, like random.
It's a chick move, like like China would do it, like for ages, and then. But yeah, like there's just like athletic chicks would do it. I don't think any other dudes would kind of did that after it. It was just known as chick move. But yeah, it's Great Muda who originated it. But yeah, like I like Great Muda is probably not like what you'd think as like a if you want like a meaty man match, but he definitely can can brawl. So yeah, this match is real fun, and bit clunky at the start but it picked up towards the end.
Yeah. Any fun facts or tidbits, JPO, on any of these gentlemen in here you got for us? Yeah.
So this is this exact match only seen once before, but a month before they did the same match on Nitro. That time Chono and Muda getting the win here. 3 out of 4 of these men technically retired just last year, actually. Rick Steiner's last match would be in 2019. Great Muda had the big retirement last year. And it's also the last televised, or not televised, but the last match of Scott Steiner as well was back in 2023. And technically, Chono as well, while he did retire in 2014, if you guys remember, or I don't know if you even knew, after Muta wrestled a 30-minute match with Naito, the man who's about to fight Moxley, got on the mic and said, I have one more thing unfinished business, and challenged Chono to a match. Again, a man that hadn't wrestled in 9 years and had a fucking cane and wobbled his way through the ring, and they wrestled for about less than a minute and a half with Chono getting the win. So Chono also technically his last match, 2023.
I see. All right. Well, at least they kept it short. Take it home, guys. All right.
Take it home.
Yeah, right.
Nice little fun pop for the fans.
Yeah, I gotcha. Got to be honest, this next match, I got sidetracked and didn't take a lot of notes on it, but it would have been hard to do anyways because it was our Lucha Trios match. Which there was just a shitload of stuff going on, and I could not keep up with it. So, it's Juventud Guerrero still under a mask. Hector Garza, who we would see a lot in in Impact, obviously, early TNA, and Lismark Jr. taking on La Parca, Viano 4, and Psychosis, all with Sonny Ono. I thought he was a Japanese manager, but okay, he's managing luchadors now. So this is a trios match. I didn't get a whole lot of notes. Look, it's a lucha trios match around this time. There was a shitload of hurricanranas, a whole bunch of top rope dives, a couple of sloppy spots, and some Sonny Ono interference, and then a finish that also involved moonsaults and a standing moonsault and a hurricanrana. So that's all you really need to know.
That's pretty much it. I mean, and I remember Lismark Jr. not being very great.
Lismark Jr. was not great, but Hector Garza looked amazing in this match. Everything he did was really crisp and great. He's actually the one who got the win with a hurricanrana standing moonsault. Hoovy looked really good. There's a great spot where Hector Garza got on all fours inside the ring, and Hoovy, jumped him over the top rope and got air Hoovy, and it looked really, really good. He got a lot of airtime on that one. La Parca looked really good. They did do a spot where Viano 4 stayed on the outside, and Viano 5, another one, came in and replaced him, and then he was the one who got pinned, so it didn't work. But again, I don't have a lot of actual notes on this match. There's just a lot going on, but it's a 10-minute scramble. It's lucha rules. It was a lot of fun. Again, just a good showcase. Crowd got fairly into it, especially near the end. I don't know anything you remember about this one, Richie. I don't have a ton of detailed notes about it, so I apologize.
I remember the Beyond the 5 coming in.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes these as much as I enjoy as Feast of the Eyes these lucha matches, sometimes they blend into each other with the dives and stuff. I do as much as I like Tubi and stuff. A lot of times he'd dive, but then sometimes he'd get too excited and mess things up. So basically what I remember. But yeah, I mean, it's a match that I would expect. I thought maybe would open the show, but that's usually the case. If this was Impact, this would open Impact. Definitely back in the mid 2000s. It was I'm sure it was a solid match, but again they blend into each other.
Yeah, JPO, any tidbits about any of these guys or this match here?
Yeah, just looking it up here. So unfortunately, we would lose Hector Garza in 2013. He wrestled the previous year in 2012. Can still be shown though today by his son, Angel Garza, currently on the WWE roster. Just wrestled on NXT actually last week here. Like you said, also had a Bruce in TNA, even fought for the world title in Impact at one point. Other than that, too, we got Villano, actually just retired last year. But other than that, everyone else, the other 4 men, can still be found in Mexico, still to this day. Juventud, La Parca now is LA Park, Lismark, and Psychosis, who now is Nicho, mostly where he goes. I think that's another weird thing like La Parca, where there's a fight over who truly is Psychosis and who's not, and who owns it and whatnot.
Yeah.
So most likely we found Juventud still pops up too occasionally in the States as well from time to time. He was in TNA for a very brief time last year. A couple years before, he of course had the match with Jericho in AEW.
Yeah, no, I remember that match in AEW. That was cool. Yeah, him popping up there. So yeah, that was part of those tests of Jericho and whatnot. Yeah, Richie.
I got confused because I know obviously LA Park's still going, but there was another guy. There was another LA Park who passed away, and I thought, LA Park had passed away, but it was some other person played LA Park.
Yeah, the guy that passed away is not the one that we saw on WCW, right? Yeah, or MLW recently as well. Park was on MLW for a while. Held tag titles with his son.
Yeah, but we move on to a match that was not lucharific. That was a pure slugfest and a brawl with two guys just beating the shit out of each other. We have a career match, so career versus career match here. That I don't think they specifically said what the rules were, but it felt like a street fight because there certainly was, a lot of brawling outside and weaponry involved and whatnot. But I guess it might as well have been. We got career versus career match here. We got Kevin Sullivan taking on Chris Benoit. Obviously, these guys, quite the feud in WCW. Kevin Sullivan out there with Jacqueline and Jimmy Hart out with him, but they kind of do the sort of Fry Takayama start where they just lock up and start wailing on each other, just big right hands. Again, they're just going toe to toe with chops and right hands and whatnot. They kind of spill to the outside. Sullivan suplexes him over the ropes to the outside, starts shooting him into the guardrails. Jackie at this point starts jumping in and just jumping all over Benoit. She's jumping on his back. She's throwing him into the rails and all that. Jericho's not really hitting her, but trying to kind of toss him off or whatnot. She eventually just becomes a weapon. Benoit picks her up and tosses her into Sullivan. She just kind of becomes a battering ram and a weapon. It's almost like if you saw Godzilla vs. Kong, the most recent one, when he used the little Kong guy, just has yeah, it was just very much like Benoit just tossing her all over the place into Sullivan. But yeah, they kind of brawl up the rampway. They brawl up to the beach display and the actual stage. Benoit gets thrown into the sort of cabana-looking thing. There's some surfboards there. Sullivan is whacking him with surfboards right in the head. I don't care how light or heavy the surfboard was. It still looked like it hurt. There's a couple of shots he just takes right on his head or right on his back. So they're doing that. Jimmy Hart at one point climbs up the lifeguard chair, and Benoit just pushes it over and knocks it off of there. That was pretty good. Again, they're getting whipped into the surfboards. There's a couple of beach chairs there. They're throwing at each other and just all kinds of mayhem. They're just wailing on each other left and right. Again, they kind of work a little bit more around the actual stageway. Kevin eventually hits a pile driver on the floor to Chris. They work their way kind of back into the ring. Chris fights back with a clothesline, but then gets pulled to the outside by Jimmy Hart, and Hart is again pouncing on him. Lots of interference over here. They strap him upside down to the stairs and kind of wail on him there. Gets crushed on the rail, but back inside, Chris fights back with a German suplex for two, starts chopping Sullivan, eventually puts him in the crossface, which he had just, by the way, started using a few weeks before on Nitro. He hadn't really used that move that much. A few weeks before on Nitro, he debuted it, so this is kind of a fairly new move at the time. He was mostly just using the headbutt, but Sullivan is able to fight out of it, get to the ropes. He puts him back in the crossface in the middle, but again, Sullivan fights his way back up, more toe-to-toe punches and chops in the middle. Sullivan eventually puts Benoit on the Treat of Woe and hits a couple of brutal running knees into the corner just over and over again while Chris is tied up in there. And then Jackie eventually comes in and tries to help again, but Sullivan's been pushing her off and throwing her to the side as well. She brings in a wooden chair, gets sick of Sullivan, turns on him, waffles him with this wooden chair, just completely explodes it right on his head. And then right after that, Benoit takes advantage, hits the flying headbutt for a 3 count, and that ends the career of Kevin Sullivan as Benoit gets the victory here. So, again, mostly just these two guys just wailing on each other as they would. I don't think it's their best match. I think the previous year's match where they brawled into the women's bathroom, that's
right. That's what I thought this one. I got confused.
Yeah. No, that was the previous year. So, yeah, this is a multi-year kind of feud they had going here.
Multi-year Bash of the Beach.
Yeah. I think the previous one's a little bit better, but this one's still a really fun brawl. Just these two guys wailing on each other. All the stuff with the beach display and the surfboards, all that stuff was a lot of fun. Richie, what did you think of this one here?
When you're describing it, I'm like, I do remember the other brawl better, but yeah, it's probably, it was a fight / wrestling match with two people who didn't like each other, and it was great. It was stiff as hell, and I loved it. It's it was probably one of those things where hey, look, one of us has got to leave. We can't work together. So I don't know. Did Sullivan actually wrestle? Did he? I'm
sure JPO can tell us if he actually wrestled after this or not. Yeah, I'm sure he's got that lined up.
I got all that ready, baby.
We'll get to that in a minute, but finish your thoughts.
Cool. But this match, I remember the the wooden chair exploded. Yeah, it says there's no give on the wooden chair. That would have fucking hurt. So she wailed on that. I've always liked Jacqueline. I think she's a badass before her time. I think. So she was one of those chicks that's just willing to get involved and do anything. Former cruiserweight champion Jacqueline, by the way.
Yeah.
That was
and wouldn't be the first time a woman turned on allegiances on a guy, as we'll see very, very shortly. So
because like WCW didn't worry about like doing the same
thing over and over again.
Same thing on the same show,
rapid succession. Not even later in the show, literally the next match.
next match. Yeah. This is great.
Yeah, JPO, what you got for us?
All right, so Kevin Sullivan, due to his credit, doesn't only wrestle in WWE except for one more time. 2 years later, he does pop up from one more match. He joins the Varsity Club, if anyone remembers that gimmick from the late 80s. He comes to the aid of Mike Rotunda and Rick Steiner as they team up with Jim Duggan, Elusive, Revolution, which is Asia, their version of China, Dean Malenko, Saturn, and Shane Douglas at Starrcade, actually, of all shows. In less than 5 minutes, they lose. And that would be his only other WCW match. Of course, we wrestled the Indies for several more years. 2 random matches I want to shout out. Just thought this was a weird match. In 2005, he teamed with CM Punk and Bill the Butcher to lose to both Dusty and Dustin Rhodes and Mike Graham. So that match exists. And then in 2012, I personally saw him and Rick Steiner fight the New Age Outlaws for a little over 3 minutes when they couldn't figure out how to play the New Age Outlaws music. And that was a fun experience. He will continue to wrestle until 2019. So it's been about 5 years since he's been in the ring. His last televised match would be an MLW Battle Riot.
There you go. The Taskmaster entering the Battle Riot. That makes sense.
I remember that. Yeah, he's just a Taskmaster. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. No, I have a couple of quick Sullivan things. I did work a few shows where Kevin Sullivan was kind of pseudo booking. So I did, get to sit in on some meetings where Sullivan was kind of breaking down the psychology of different matches and stuff. So he doesn't have a mind for the business. He was always a nice guy, at least to me. So I have nothing but good things to say about him. My buddy Dagan Briggs has a story he told me many times and other people about after a show riding to a gas station with Sullivan, and Sullivan was wearing the shortest shorts you could possibly wear for a man, but then wearing a t-shirt that extended the length of the shorts, so it looks like he didn't have any pants on, just like no pants on, and then walking into this gas station when it looks like he has no pants on, just a shirt, and then going into the gas station, and then a couple of young black gentlemen recognizing Sullivan and going, "Oh shit, it's the Taskmaster," and recognize him in the gas station, and then he talked to his credit, he talked to the kids for like a couple minutes. So, again, most people nothing but good things to say about Sullivan, at least for the most part. So,
Sullivan's always seemed like a cool guy. I also want to give a quick shout out and love to Jacqueline too. I was always a fan of hers. She had a run in TNA for a little while that lasted until 2013, and then we saw her in the 2018 Rumble and hasn't really been on TV since. And I'm just gonna. I think we all know what happened with Benoit, so continue.
Okay, yeah, we'll just keep going because we'll just switch gears and just say,
never mind that shit. Here comes Mongo.
Here comes Mongo, because it's time for a U.S. title match as Steve Mongo McMichael makes his way out to the ring with Deborah, his wife, and Briefcase in tow. And who are they facing? Oh shit, I'm getting a message.
A wild slapnuts appears. Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
When did you do that? That's not. Have you ever shown that before?
No, that's a Ring of the Hawk thing. So
I know what it is. I know what it is. I just meant you've never done that here, have you?
No, I've never done that here. But I just thought it'd be appropriate because it seems like every time, I swear to God, it doesn't matter what retro show you pull, Jeff Jarrett's going to be on it unless it's ECW.
Yeah, he's been
I swear it's like every damn retro show we've done. It doesn't matter what era, WCW, WWE, whatever. Jeff Jarrett just makes his way on there. I don't know how he does it because he's on everything. He was everywhere all at once. Everything everywhere all at once. But yes, we have. So I'll just pull those whenever we talk about a Jeff Jarrett on retro shows. I just thought that was funny. And yeah, shout out to Ring of the Hawk. If you've never seen Ring of the Hawk videos, go check him out. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, he does the same thing every time he does a show with Jeff Jarrett. When he pops up, a wild slap nuts appears. But yeah, so we got our U.S. title match here. The champion Jeff Jarrett taking on Steve Mongo McMichael, and I was in for a treat. I was like, oh man, what is Mongo gonna do? He's just a wild animal in the ring. You never know what the hell he's gonna do. And it would not be our first or only appearance of Mongo on the show. We'll talk about it later. So we started a little bit back and forth, kind of arm wringers, chain wrestling, whatnot. Jeff Jarrett gets the better of and does his little strut there. But out of nowhere, they're kind of going back and forth. Mongo just whips Jarrett into the ropes and then hits a boss man slam just out of nowhere. Just picks him up, herks him down, boss man slam, and then he hits a big shoulder tackle again. I kind of like watching Mongo because you just never know what he's going to do out of nowhere.
A boss man slam followed by a shoulder tackle. Right?
Followed by a shoulder tackle. You never know what you're going to see with Mongo. He just does stuff, and it's kind of amazing. Like, again, I've seen matches where it seems like they'll just be in the middle of the match, and all of a sudden he'll just herk a guy up and tombstone him and just win. It's just like in the middle of a lockup. It's just weird. So yeah, but we go from there. We go to a test of strength. The thing you normally do at the beginning of a match, we do after the boss man slam with the shoulder tackle. So we go back to a test of strength. Mongo just hits a big high knee out of nowhere, sends Jeff to the outside, sends him reeling. He throws him around into the rails, throws him in the steps. He's outside, chokes him with a camera cord, and then Mongo drops some kind of axe handles on the apron. Back into the ring, Mongo hits a big gorilla press slam and a couple more shoulder tackles, as one football player does. He then just, again, herks up Jeff, just spins him around, hits him with a power slam for 2, which is out of nowhere. And then he goes for a running knee in the corner, hits his own knee in there. So Jeff takes advantage and starts hitting some kind of running knee tackles, taking out Mongo a couple of times. But then Deborah jumps up on the apron, maybe looking to help out her husband, but behind the referee's back, Jeff grabs the briefcase and whacks Mongo with it and is able to get the 3 count. And then afterwards, Deborah leaves with Jeff Jarrett, saying she only leaves with the champion. So she turns on Michael again, second time in a row. The valet has turned on the person they came out with. But yeah, this match was like 6 minutes. It was fucking wild. There was like no psychology, but it was kind of amazing. Richie,
wouldn't she? And she'd manage him in WWE. They'd go to WWE together, wouldn't they?
Yeah. No, she this is around the time she left Mongo for real in like real life. So yeah. She would obviously marry Steve Austin a couple of years later. So
her and Jarrett went to WWE together. So I was but yeah, no. This match also reminded me, like, one of the people that I omitted from my the Wrestle Crap draft that I thought about. Remember when he had a feud with Kevin Green, the other football player?
Yeah, the other football player. Yeah, Kevin Green, he had some charisma and stuff, but again, he was kind of like Mongo. He just did stuff, just with like no psychology. Yeah, mostly just shoulder tackles and gorilla slams. That's all he ever did.
Yeah, he also passed a couple years ago, I think. But Mongo match is always fun because like, again, I've always said, like, if you're gonna get a guy who's like, maybe like, not like proficient in the ring, to kind of put it lightly, why would you give him the finisher of a tombstone when he always looks like he's going to drop?
Which we would see later. We'll get to that.
He always looks like he's going to drop. It looks like
he's going to kill somebody. Yeah.
But
which, funny enough, he never did. But Owen Hart, much better wrestler, did hurt somebody with a tombstone.
Yeah.
Pretty famously. So interesting.
I am with that. I would argue that like short guys probably shouldn't do tombstone. Anyway, but like I don't know. This match is fine. Like, Jeff Jarrett is probably good, like, veteran to work with, I guess. But yeah, there was like what a Mongo match is. It's a bit of a car crash. But yeah, I guess it was a way to get Deborah out from Michael, because obviously they're having, like, sometimes it's good. It can benefit working with your spouse. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it causes issues. Obviously, it's going to cause issues, and then So, but yeah, I don't know. It was a match.
JPO, what you got for us?
Mongo McMichael, credit to a real WCW OG here. This is a man who never wrestled outside of WCW ever, not before, not after No New Japan one-offs. 96 to 99, he would be a WCW guy. Even before that, too, if you count commentary, always fun times of him dressing up as a little dog. If you look back on like the early Nitros, he's even there on Nitro. Yeah. Which is that also Chavo's hobby horse?
It's also Chavo's hobby horse. Yeah, both of them. Yeah, Pepe.
Okay, so yeah, someone at WCW loves the name Pepe, I guess. But yeah, so he's there even on Nitro episode number 1. You can see him on the very debut of Nitro as one of the commentators here. These two would be kind of tied to the hip a little bit here. 28 different times these two would share the ring. This is technically a rematch from Super Brawl. They actually had a 1-1 match. And explain this match to me, because it sounds weird on paper, Pez. At Spring Stampede, they teamed against Public Enemy.
That's got to be a fucking train wreck. I want to go watch that right now. I can't wait to go watch Mongo lock up with Johnny Grunge.
Yeah, and that's just 3 months prior. They're teaming in April, and they're fighting in July. So yeah,
I forgot to mention, by the way. Oh, go ahead. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just simply say, because Jeff Jarrett being one of 2 people, him and Jericho, that are still on major television until to this day. You still got other guys like Luffy that are still going, but one of 2 people that literally, we're talking about a 1997 pay-per-view and still going, and they're, he's on TV next week and Jericho's on pay-per-view on Sunday.
Yeah, no, still very, very regular. Yeah, totally.
I know. Before he went to WCW, WWE wanted Mongo because he was actually out on WrestleMania 11. And
you could catch him appearing on there, which is also
and he did some commentary,
not too long before Nitro.
Leading up to that, huh?
Not to say, isn't that's March of '95? Then I guess Nitro's in September, so
and WCW picks him up right after that. Yeah,
I think WCW just gave him more money. So.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's WCW. That seems to be the story.
They gave everybody money. I just talked to Malcolm about the Great American Bash '99. They paid Swole, the guy who wrestled 3 matches as part of the No Limit Soldiers, $400,000. $400,000, and he wrestled 3 times, and that was it.
Jesus Christ!
No.
You're like me in like the general manager mode of like those 2K games. But I can do that. It's fake money. It's fine.
It's fake money. Yeah, it's not real. Just burn it. Who cares? I was just going to mention earlier. I forgot to mention about the Steiners. Richie, if you want to see 2 more great Steiner matches, just big, meaty, beat the shit out of each other matches. The prior 2 Nitros to this pay-per-view, you can see on one of them Benoit and Mongo versus the Steiners, which is a complete utter slobber knocker, and it's awesome.
I've seen that. Yeah,
and it rules. And then the week after, the Steiners versus Vicious and Delicious. That match is awesome. Also, that match is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So go watch those. They're both great. Anyways, moving on. We had a quick Dennis Rodman Hulk Hogan promo video. I skipped it. Don't care. It's just Hogan, just them putting each other over. Who cares? We get to a tag team title match as we got the tag team champions at the time, Scott Hall and Randy Savage, being accompanied by Miss Elizabeth, taking on DDP and a mystery partner. That mystery partner ends up being Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect. And by the way, this is the week after, coming off of DDP and Savage were in a feud at the time. This is the week after the pretty famous angle where DDP dressed up as La Parka, speaking of La Parka, and then caught him in the Diamond Cutter and beat Savage on Nitro. So pretty famous WCW moment and angle there. Coming off of that, we got this tag team title match here. So we kind of start off. DDP gets the early advantage.
Is this line?
I believe it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cage match doesn't have that, but maybe.
I could have sworn the graphic said it was the tag team titles were on the line, which made sense because they retained them. So I mean, I don't think they went anywhere. DDP with a spinning lariat to start. Randy kind of powders out. There's tags both into Scott Hall and Kurt Hennig. Hennig hits a big knee lift, couple of atomic drops, and a clothesline, and then does the little snap thing he would do that John Cena would later do and call it the throwback. That move, that little like overhead, little flippy neck breaker thing. It tags back into DDP. Hits a big gut wrench face buster to Scott Hall. Hall reverses and whips him in the corner, hits a big clothesline. Savage takes a couple of cheap shots on the outside, rakes the eyes and chokes him on the outside. So Hall and Savage taking a little advantage here. DDP gets whipped in the steps, hits a big hangman's neck breaker on the inside. There's a tag into Savage, comes back in, tag to Kurt. Kurt eventually kind of powers over Savage with another big atomic drop. But Kurt gets sent over to the outside. He actually, DDP kind of pulls the ropes down, thinking the Savage was going to take the bump, but Kurt Hennig ends up falling over the ring. Hennig gets pissed off, thinks DDP did it on purpose, just kind of out of nowhere, and then just whacks DDP out of nowhere and walks out on him and just starts leaving. So because of that, they get DDP back in the ring, and Scott Hall, again, the ending's kind of abrupt and sort of out of nowhere. I wonder if they got their time cut, because they throw him back in, and Scott Hall immediately hits a Razor's Edge, and Savage hits a big flying elbow, and they get the 3 count as Kurt Hennig walks out on his partner. So there you have it. Yeah, Richie, anything thoughts on it? Yeah, the ending kind of comes out of nowhere. It's kind of abrupt, but
yeah. I mean, this is a bit of WCW booking. I mean, the match is fine up to that point. It was like, it just makes DDP look like an idiot, like who's just they just started to started to tag, and then immediately gets turned on. So you're like Sting, but. Yeah, and it's just like
very trusting of people who aren't very trustworthy. Yes.
Yeah, okay. It's just like you didn't no build to dissension, and again, it's like my least favorite spot of like, hey, you did this on purpose, I did an accident. There's a replay thing, and it doesn't. You could easily check in the back. It was, but anyway, just like it was. It was what it was, but I don't know. I just WCW booking ruined the match for me.
Because it was entertaining while it lasted, and then it just kind of ends pretty quickly. But JPO, any tidbits about any of the gentlemen here or these matches and whatnot?
Yeah, so this would be Kurt Hennig's first match in 4 years. Hadn't stepped in the ring since leaving the WWE back in '93, or at least wrestling wise. He'd be on TV for a little bit longer, but hadn't wrestled since '93 at this point here. So. 3/4 of these men, of course, unfortunately, no longer with us here. All 3 of them having their last matches technically with TNA, actually, if you count that Macho Man match. It counts. A bell rang, and he dropped an elbow.
It's a match. It was a sanctioned match. Yeah, it happened.
Scott Hall teamed with Eric Young to defeat Matt Morgan in a handicap match. That would be his last match. And Kurt Hennig actually fought David Flair in what would end up being his last match. DDP would go on and off until 2020 in his one and only AEW match, which I actually attended live, where he teamed with Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall to lose to MJF, the Blade and the Butcher, which would also be a Bash at the Beach.
There you go.
Before that, they were told to stop using that name.
I wonder why.
Let's see. I feel like I had something else, but Randy Savage. Yeah, his last major singles match, by the way, was with Dennis Rodman at Road Wild '99. If you ever wondered what his last major match was,
yeah, I don't know if I want to see. I don't remember Rodman having a singles match. That's like a Mandela effect. I thought everything he had was tag matches. Weird.
12 minutes. Him and Rodman. 12 minutes at Road Wild '99.
Wow.
And that'd be his last. He'd have one more appearance, a random battle royal in May of 2000, which is kind of weird.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember the
match. That's
really Rodman match.
Yeah, strange thing there. Okay. Anyways, we get to our semi-main event of the evening, and this was the crossover match that I was telling you guys about because it's Roddy Piper versus Ric Flair, and then the Great American Bash '99 I reviewed with Malcolm. They also have a match on that show, and it's a battle for the presidency of WCW. So just again, a weird crossover that I watched 2 shows this week with Flair and Piper, essentially doing almost the same match, only this one's longer. The other one's kind of a condensed sort of greatest hits of this match. So we get these 2 guys here in '97. Pretty entertaining match, by the way. Not to spoil my thoughts, but anyways, get these guys in here. Piper kind of attacks right from the beginning, starts kind of brawling, just hitting punches and body shots and whatnot. Flair kind of powders out, starts to walk up the ramp, but eventually comes back. Piper hits some chops, but then Flair hits some chops. Flair does a little spot where he gets whipped into the corner, up and over to the outside, and gets clotheslined on the apron. Kind of signature Flair spot there. There's a Flair flop in there as well, kind of somewhere in there that Flair took. Gets backdropped on the floor and then thrown his head into the post. Piper hits an eye pokes Flair in the eyes as well. But then once they're back in the ring, Flair hits a chop block to the knee while Piper's kind of distracted with the referee. So Flair goes to work on the knee with another chop block, and then a couple more shots to the knees. Just kind of really put some heat on that. Eventually gets Piper down and puts him in the figure four. But Piper just gets pissed off eventually and flips it over to reverse the pressure. Flair's able to get to the ropes and break it up, and then distracts the referee for a minute, hits a low blow to kind of take back control, and goes right back to the knee. Once again, they go toe-to-toe in the middle of the ring as Piper fights back, as you don't really want to go toe-to-toe with Piper in the middle of the ring as he gets the better of that. He starts working over Flair with a shot to the knee, a big backdrop. They brawl outside for a minute, come back in. Piper goes for the sleeper, but Flair is able to kind of do a chin drop and escape out of it. Flair does the spot where he gets tossed off the top rope as he goes for the axe handle, and then Piper puts a figure four on Ric Flair, but Flair is able to get to the ropes and break it up. Piper hits Flair with some kind of object he pulls out. I think it was supposed to be like brass knuckles, but it was like wrapped in cloth or something. It just looked like a piece of cloth. It was kind of weird. It's just very strange looking. But anyways, whatever it was, he goes to hit Piper. Piper's able to block it and hit Flair with it right back out of there. But then as soon as he does that, the Horsemen come in and attack, trying to help out their mentor Flair, as Benoit accidentally, though, hits Flair with a flying headbutt behind the referee's back, but Mongo's able to get in behind the referee and tombstones Piper, which again looked brutal, but was completely safe. But gets the tombstone, gets out of there. Flair goes for the cover, but Piper kicks out of the tombstone and is able to again fight back. Pissed off again, they're going toe to toe. He eventually puts on the sleeper hold, and all three of the arms go down 3 times as Piper gets the win with the sleeper hold and gets the victory here. Really fun match, actually. I didn't expect a whole lot from 1997 Roddy Piper and Ric Flair. This was actually a really good, just sort of sports entertainment kind of a match. It was a lot of the greatest hits, but like the crowd was super into it. And Piper showed a lot of fire here, and again, really, really entertaining, just for what it's worth. So yeah, Richie, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I remember thinking that was like a well-booked match for what it was. I certainly better from memory than the match you reviewed with Malcolm.
Yeah, no, that match was like a way more condensed version of literally just them doing their greatest hits for like 7 minutes, and that's it. Yeah. And then has a bad finish where Buff Bagwell's like with Piper, but then Piper turns on him and joins the Flair, even though they just had a match. It's weird. Bad.
I think a couple of years ago, Brian Zane, a wrestling regret, did like a retrospective of Piper and WCW. And it's just like, it was like, because that point was weird though. They're both like general manager. He was like general manager. It was weird. Anyway, but like at least this had more big. I feel like this had like more stakes to it, and more like heart and emotion. And then it was good. It was good. It's like so sometimes these like it was a well booked match with two people who didn't expect to have a good match at this point in time. But I think it was well done. Even the interference was like well done. Again, I get I don't know, sometimes you get nervous when Mongo's task is doing a tombstone, especially to a guy like Piper, which could end really badly. But
no, it actually looked smooth. Yeah, it was actually
really smooth. It was good. It was solid.
Yeah, JP, I'd definitely be interested to hear what Piper's last couple of matches were and when they were. I'm sure you got that info. Hit me.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. At first, I thought what this episode was missing was a Snack Hero review.
Oh, okay.
Cherry Freeze, brought to you by our U.S. champion.
Oh, this isn't the tournament fights, though, so I don't know if this exactly applies, but yeah. Okay.
Okay, my bad.
No, it's all good.
7-4. I don't know. All right. First of all, just these two alone, I thought this was interesting. They've been wrestling since 1973, and I mean against each other. Their first match was against each other. It was in 73. They actually fought each other a lot in WWF, even though it was almost never televised. Like these two were house show couples together, cage matches, singles matches. The only televised match I could find that was a singles match was on the MSG network, which was only shown to certain markets. Never a pay-per-view. You think they would give these two a great nice pay-per-view match? And also their last bit together here was, if anyone remembers, 2006, they were tag team champions together, actually, in the WWE, defeating the Spirit Squad at Cyber Sunday. And they would hold it for about a month, losing to Rated RKO. Edge and Orton would be final here. And then, of course, we know Flair literally wrestled 2 years ago in his final match here. As far as Piper, he'd be bouncing around all the way until 2011. His last WWE match would be a minute win against The Miz in 2011. And then 2 months later, and I've seen this match, and don't go out of your way, him and Bob Orton defeated Mick Foley and Terry Funk in barely over 4 minutes at Juggalo Championship Wrestling. That's why I don't go out
of course.
This is Foley in like sweatpants, and this is they're just getting paid. It's like probably 3 a.m. Most of the fans are shitty. Yeah, it's a bad match, and unfortunately would be on paper Piper's last match.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, this feels like these guys have wrestled a bunch of times, and like they probably just called it all in the ring, other than like the finish or whatever, and just doing their hits, and they had nothing wrong with that. They got the chemistry with each other, so it works. And you can tell they probably just went out there and did their thing. So a really entertaining match actually. So the guys knew what they were doing. And then we get to our main event of the evening, the one that's been hyped up. So we got Lex Luger and the Giant taking on Dennis Rodman and Hulk Hogan, or Hollywood Hogan of the NWO, accompanied by Macho Man Savage, Michael Buffer doing the intros here, bringing him out. Still a lot of anticipation for this one. So these guys get in there. There's a lot of kind of stalling in the first half of this match, a lot of like stuff in between all the things I'm going to say of just, cowering in the corner or, doing something and celebrating, whatnot. So there's quite a bit of that. But Hogan and Luger kind of start out things. Luger gets the better of Hogan, and then they do kind of a pose off, just back and forth posing with each other. Hogan eventually gets a shoulder block, but Luger fights back and hits one as well. Hogan hits a body slam, but misses an elbow, and then Luger slams Hogan. Again, very basic stuff to start here, just kind of working the crowd a little bit. Eventually, crowd picks up as Rodman gets his first tag in. You can feel kind of the anticipation for this. There's a little bit of stalling here. He goes back to Hogan, gets some advice and whatnot. When they do eventually lock up, they lock up for a minute, and he gets a big arm drag on Luger. And just for the arm drag, crowd goes absolutely berserk and crazy. Just jumping up and down. So again, a lot of anticipation here for what Rodman's going to do. So he does get the pop there. Luger comes back though and arm drags both Rodman and Hogan. They powder out and kind of regroup a little bit. But back in the ring, Rodman's back in. Another lockup, goes to an Irish whip. He does a leapfrog and a shoulder block, which gets an even bigger pop. The crowd is literally jumping up and down and shaking because Rodman did a leapfrog and a shoulder block. Keep in mind the leapfrog thing, because he'll go back to that multiple times in this match. That's kind of must have been one of the 3 moves he learned when he actually did train for this match. Because he goes back to it again, but when he comes back down, he takes a clothesline from Luger. So eventually there's a tag to Hogan, tag to the Giant. Crowd is going bonkers now that the Giant's in. They've been kind of teasing him getting the tag. He finally gets the tag. Crowd again is shaking the building in anticipation, seeing what the Giant can do, because he was still pretty hot commodity at this time. Hogan kind of fights him off with some right hands and a head into the buckle, but Giant eventually stops him and hits a big atomic drop. Another tag into Rodman. Rodman tries to go for the leapfrog again. I don't know if it's a good idea to try to leapfrog a 7-footer. Somebody who's legitimately bigger, but he tries. But Giant catches him in a bear hug and then hits an inverted atomic drop. He chokes Rodman, but Hogan breaks it up with a couple of cheap shots from the outside. Then Hogan and Rodman kind of double team him for a minute, hit a big boot. They double hip toss the Giant. Again, pretty impressive. They tag into Luger. Luger runs wild for a minute. Rodman eventually cuts him off. They start to isolate Luger a little bit, using some dirty tactics. Giant gets a tag, but the ref doesn't see it. Giant but comes in anyways and headbutts Rodman and Hogan. This is when Sting, in quotation marks, comes down the rampway. Suspiciously, Sting has grown 10 inches and is much bigger than he normally is. But the announcers are trying to sell it like it's actually Sting. Here comes Sting. Here's Sting. What's Sting doing? Sting.
Sting and Kevin Nash in a trench coat.
Yeah, Kevin Nash in a trench coat. Yes, it's Kevin Nash in a trench coat with a baseball bat and a Sting mask. But yeah, he hits the Giant with the baseball bat and takes him out. There's then a double team on Luger. But Hogan in the schmaz accidentally hits Dennis Rodman. And then Luger starts going crazy as he puts Hogan up in the torture rack and gets a tap out victory over Hogan. He does tap out as Nick Patrick. There's a schmaz with a referee, but Nick Patrick eventually comes in and recognizes the tap out. So Luger and the Giant does get the victory. And then Luger keeps going crazy. He racks Savage. He racks Rodman. Crowd is going absolutely ballistic. He's torture racking everybody in sight. Again, good shot for the ESPN, and whatnot of just Rodman getting kind of thrown around a little bit near the end. So, but yeah, for what it was, there was a lot of stalling in the beginning, a lot of typical Hogan stuff. But still, the crowd was super into it. Rodman did get reactions whenever he did do some big moves and whatnot. But you still had kind of the baby faces getting the win here. So yeah, Richie, any thoughts on this big main event here? I mean, you probably, it was hyped up. It was a lot of mainly for the personality of Rodman and kind of to get the publicity, but still delivered a fairly entertaining main event, at least from what I saw.
Yeah, I'd say it achieved what it set out to do, which is entertain. And obviously, I would argue, obviously Rodman learned only a couple of minutes of this match. And I'd argue that a leapfrog is not a huge difficulty curve if you're a basketball player.
Yeah, right. We know he can jump, so yeah.
But it's fulfilled, served its purpose here. I thought maybe, given it was WCW, I thought maybe they'd get Hogan and Robin the win, just because just have those optics of.
Well, they had a thing where it was like then Hogan was complaining that like the wrong guy got, or like he wasn't legal, or like the ref stuff. So there was something they could kind of play off of afterwards, probably on Nitro. I didn't really go to see, but yeah, I'm sure they could play that up a little bit. Hey, he's back. No, it's all good. I'm just getting Richie's thoughts, and then we'll go to you for some fun facts if you got them. But yeah, no, keep going, Richie. Continue.
Yeah, it was sort of pleasantly surprised to have Luger win here. And then obviously set up something for later. But because Luger was this is around
the time Luger beat Hogan, I think, soon after this for the title on Nitro.
Yeah,
a pretty famous moment.
And and then he would lose his title back to him like a month later. Okay,
like not even a month. A couple of days later at Road Wild.
A couple of days later, it's like, dude, like you had a hot thing. Why can't you just like let that ride for a bit?
They killed it immediately, and then he just went back to being like upper mid card and just never was the same. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. So but it's a cool moment, and Luger was so over at this time, and this is why I have a soft spot. While Luger's not great in the ring, I sort of defend him. I think he was, he had a way of getting over. So yeah.
Yeah, JP, what you got for us? You got some Rodman facts in the ring, and a couple other tidbits for us. What you got?
Just go over these four guys here in the main event. Here mentioned Lex Luger, only 13 matches post WCW career, popping up for that kind of foreign company WWA. Well, one off with TNA where he teamed with Jarrett to lose to AJ and Sting. His final match would again be against two people we saw tonight. He actually won with Buff Bagwell in 2006, defeating Jarrett and Scott Steiner. That would be his last match for a company called UWF. For good old Paul White, the most active out of all four of these rather here. Still technically wrestling here. He appeared on the Jericho Cruise in a 6-man tag this year, teaming with Jericho and Mike Bailey of all people here. Kind of a fun mixed tag there. The last time we saw him on television was last year in that weird street fight where him, Kota Ibushi, Jericho, and Omega won. I believe he got taken out too. Like this last time we saw him on TV, they kind of took him out in the back.
He got slammed on a car by Hobbs.
Yeah.
Fun one. He wasn't there. He wasn't there to get his arm raised, but he does walk away technically with the win there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys, make sure I'm still here. Good old Rodman here. Had 4 WCW matches. Would be his debut, teaming with Hogan to lose to Giant and Luger. Oh no, I'm sorry. That was actually a Nitro match they have technically here. I don't know if the bell started or not, but this match would be his first pay-per-view match. One more Bash of the Beast match where they would defeat DDP and Karl Malone. Then he had that hardcore match with Randy Savage, and there is one outside of WCW match for a company in Australia, IGW, where him and Kurt Hennig were the main event. And I've seen this match because it was $1 at Walmart. It was one of those skinny sleeved DVDs where it's like Dick Van Dyke episodes, out of date movie, that
random wrestling
no
show
one's ever seen.
Yeah,
and then random IGW wrestling where I'm like, what? It's $1 and it's wrestling. I'm watching it. It's got like Tatanka, Hawk and Animal on that show. Barbarian, I want to say, is on that show. So yeah, so that is technically his last match. Was the year 2000. He'd pop up here and there. He did a couple of random TNA spots. Never looked that interested in it, to be honest with you. And I thought I saw that he was like, maybe they were teasing it.
Wasn't he in the crowd for he was in the crowd for he was in the crowd for an AEW show recently. They had like a pretty lengthy shot of him, right? Like something fairly recently.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he's made like a couple of random appearances, here and there.
Yeah.
And then our good friend Terry, last time we saw him in WWE, you have to go all the way back to 2006, wrestling wise, anyways, would be his SummerSlam match and win over Randy Orton. Him and Big Show, actually, a lot of people don't know this, but you can look this up on YouTube. Him and Big Show actually wrestled in Memphis in front of a really big crowd in April of 2007, which got a weird one-off that they did there. Of course, he had his Hulkamania tour where it was him defeating Ric Flair for 4 different nights in Australia.
I was there.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no matter if you were there, Richie, I can tell you he defeated Ric Flair because Flair never got a win. And then 5 matches only for TNA from 2010 to 2012. He would team with the Abyss to defeat AJ Styles and Ric Flair. Team with the Abyss to fight AJ Styles and Ric Flair to no contest. He would lose to Sting. And then his last 2 matches were identical 6-man tags on a house show, of all things, in the UK with Sting and James Storm defeating Bobby Roode, Bully Ray, and Kurt Angle, which you would think save one of those for TV, but I don't know. Yeah, technically his last match ever for one of the greatest of all time as far as popularity-wise is a TNA house show.
Well, what I find interesting, like especially if because they're promoting you can meet all these wrestlers, on Raw. They're promoting you can meet all these wrestlers there, and then like Hulk Hogan's part of it. They're calling Hulk Hogan WWE legend Hulk Hogan, but then they're differentiating it by saying and WWE Hall of Famer Paul Heyman. They're not calling Hulk Hogan a Hall of Famer, and I just find that they're not acknowledging that Hulk Hogan's a Hall of Famer. But I just find it kind of interesting.
Yeah. No, we're good. Well, we'll wrap this up. Get our final thoughts here. Maybe what do you get out of 10, and just kind of overall thoughts of the show from what you remember, Richie, from watching it about a month ago. What you got?
Yeah, I seem to remember enjoying it. Even the sort of Hogan hijinks was at least it was muted. At least it didn't sort of work and dampen the show. And then the mid card was pretty good. The only thing I probably didn't enjoy was the Kurt Hennig turn, because you hadn't built that up. It was just out of nowhere. I was like, okay, and it made DDP look like an idiot. So yeah, solid show. The Jericho Ultimate Dragon match is good. It was great, but nothing else blow away or anything like that. I mean, the opening match is really good. It was good too. Always, like I said, always Chris Kanyon, and so I'd probably maybe a 6. Yeah, I'll go 6.
I'm way higher on the show. I think the show is pretty damn entertaining from start to finish. And I really don't have any super duds. I mean, I think the worst match is probably just that tag team match, just because it kind of ends with abruptly, with the DDP thing. But even Jared and Mongo is only 6 minutes, but it's a chaotic, wild Mongo 6 minutes, so it's still entertaining. I mean, the only thing really holding it back from being an elite show is just there's no like match of the year candidate type things on here. Nothing that's like you would go back specifically to watch. But I mean, from start to finish, like I thought this was pretty damn entertaining. Like the opener is really good and really fun for what it is. Ultimate Dragon and Jericho, again, you could have that match today, and I think it would still look really good. You have a fun Mean Guy match with the Steiner match, like it's still really fun. The Lucha Trios match is entertaining. Start to finish. Sullivan and Benoit beat the shit out of each other for 10 minutes. That's always fun to watch. I mean,
I changed my ranking. Because I forgot about the Sullivan.
Yeah,
I'll go 7.5.
No, I just, Piper and Flair again is super entertaining for those two guys who, as JPO pointed out, have wrestled each other probably 100 times, apparently, and just know each other and know what to do, to entertain a crowd. And then, the main event is, it's all about the spectacle of Rodman and whatnot, but again, still entertaining. I was super entertained from start to finish. I think it's a really good show. There's not a whole lot of like dud stuff here or really wacky booking, like anything that's super crazy. I would go like an 8 or 8.5, like out of 10. I think it's a really solid show, and I would recommend this. Like if you want to see WCW kind of in their prime, like really at the height of their power, sort of, with kind of their formula with like some really good undercard matches, but some big spectacle sort of main events. I'm all about it. So I highly recommend this show. I think it was really, really good. So I'm glad I went back and watched it. It's good to me. So
I just watched Hogan's last match, by the way, and
oh, was it that quick?
Ends with him. Kind of. Well, it's the last moment of the match, which he's in jeans and a t-shirt. So I don't know if he's in it much more than that. But it's the finish of it. He gets tagged in, does the big boot, which is more like a kick to slightly above the kick, and then tags James Storm to do the leg drop. He doesn't even do the leg drop in this final match.
Wow. Well, he's got a bad hip, Don't want to mess up your hip. So I understand.
I know.
Yeah. But yeah, no.
It's kind of funny if you very savage, where I'm pretty sure that
we missed a good chunk of what you said. Your connection was wacky. So sorry.
Nah, you're good. Nothing important. We're good.
No, okay. No disrespect. We missed a good chunk of that. You kind of went off the rails for a second, connection wise. But while we still got you back, JPO, let's wrap things up where the people can find you outside of the Lonely Marks. What you got?
And when I'm not here, you can see me popping up over on my channel, the Pierce Co, like Pierce Your Ear, the Co is in company, and that isn't the place to find it. Do lots of movie trivia over there. Wrapping up a tag team tournament here. We also do top 10s. Like I said, you'll probably be seeing maybe Pez and Richie on it sometime soon because we're about the halfway mark. I always have to do halfway marks of the movies of the year. Similar stuff over at Pierce Wrestling. Once we're done with that tag team tournament in movies, start a wrestling tournament here. Our yearly, let's figure out who will lose to Chris Caster, as he likes to call it, because he is our Roman Reigns. Respect. And other channels too, of course, find at Movie Hero Network tomorrow night. Yeah, just tomorrow night, as well as other times as well, because Richie and Pez are going to show us their favorite actors and movies.
But it's okay. I'm hosting, not Jordan, so we'll make it a quick show. Everybody keep their thoughts quick.
We'll actually be there. That will be at 9.
We will start at 9 or 9:05. Not that pretty close to 9. So be there, and we'll maybe be done by 11:30, something like that. Yeah, that'll be fun. So yeah, sounds good to me.
And that'll be a lot of fun here, joining my man over there, my boys over there. Other places, man. Why we love horror, combat wrestling, trivia. Me and Richie, by the way, we should do the Ethan Page, Curtis Axel, and say we should also get a title shot because we never lost the match tonight because we weren't in the match tonight because this shit ran too long. So let's just throw that out there. Me and you, we deserve title shots.
All right. Yeah, that sounds good.
Or just go to AEW and complain that you didn't get a title shot, and you'll get a title shot. Like
the match. Oh, thanks, Tony. Cool. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Because rankings matter. So it's fine. You just lost your title to Will Ospreay, so I should get a world title match. Yeah, cool. That makes sense. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Why not? Anyways, good booking, Tony. All right, Richie, what you got going on?
You could JP said, you could find tournament fights doing our favorite actors. So that should be fun. More of the trivia spaces too. You'll find me on JPO's channel, and there. Often losing to Steve Mazer if he signs up, but sometimes surprise myself. Occasionally, I will I'll be, I'll get close or win. I've won. Okay, I've won once or twice, occasionally, and yeah, and then and then elsewhere, just Wheel of Movies. We just recorded before this. So yeah, we did Invasion of the Body Snatchers remake. It was fun times, and then in 2 weeks we'll be doing Godfather Part 3 with Malcolm. So that should be fun. To talk about a pretty bit of a divisive movie and kind of So,
but again, no lack of stuff to talk about with that movie. There's plenty to talk about there. So that's all I care about. Can we make a show out of it? We can make a show out of Godfather 3. We can talk about
yeah. So that's just sort of what I got going on in the
speaking of Dennis Rodman, we can't get away from Dennis Rodman because we reviewed this and we almost reviewed Simon Says, and then Simon Says also popped up on the mystery tournament. Just Dennis Rodman's everywhere in our lives right now. Can't get away from the guy. He's just everywhere.
And I'm this is sort of like it sort of counts because I'm like catching up on the NBA draft, right? And I've got it paused. The team that just drafted that finished their draft, Chicago Bulls. So it all comes together.
There you go. It's all connected. It's all cosmic coincidence, weird stuff. You can obviously find us every week here on our new Lonely Marks Wrestling Podcast channel. Next week we'll be, we'll cover whatever news comes out, as well as just do a deep dive on Forbidden Door. We'll probably break it down, match by match, and just talk about the whole thing. We'll be behind the scenes. We'll be doing a little watch along, so we'll be watching it together and have a good time. So dive into what should be a lengthy pay-per-view, but hopefully some good matches. And then over on the Movie Hero Network, you can find me over there co-hosting or hosting, in case this week, a bunch of the shows over there. Richie mentioned we just did Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Wheel of Movies. You can check that out. And I'll be on Mega Movie Z, Wolfman's channel, doing a little Jaws the Revenge drinking game this weekend. So you can check that out as well. We'll link that on the Movie Hero Network Facebook group. So check us out over there. But thank you guys. A little lengthy show. We had a good time. I think we had some fun talks, some fun facts. The JPO is always good for the fun facts. I appreciate that. He's quick on the cage match. He's got it tabbed and bookmarked on his computer. I'm sure ready to go.
Cage match.
Yeah, no.
I also have a profile on Cage Match.
Hey, there you go. No, nice. Always fun fact checking there, a little predictions. So we'll see who wins the predictions.
I attended an NXT show a few days ago, and I can say technically that I've wrestled in the same building as all those people. So
I have reffed in the same building as an NXT show because NXT a couple times ran the Maxwell Snyder Armory in Jacksonville, and that's where we run our USWA shows.
Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, Trick Williams, JPO, same level.
And Ref Pez. There you go. That's right. We're all on the same level. Same doing our thing in Florida. So, we're in Florida doing what we got to do. Another show in August, by the way, coming up. So I'll be back in Florida refing a little bit for USWA, but we'll get to that when we get to it. That'll do it for tonight. So thank you guys for joining. We'll be back next week talking some Forbidden Door, some news. We'll see whatever. Barber still has one prediction thing in the can, so he's got one coming up, and we'll see what wins.
And I guess Money in the Bank predictions.
Oh, is that coming up next week as well?
There you go. Well, then,
okay. Well, JPO, more predictions next week, so I'm sure he'll be ready with those.
Let's graphics is safe. And WWE, AEW has to hunt. WWE is like their site.
Yeah. Well, and it'll be way less. It'll be what, 5-6 matches, 5-6 matches tops. Yeah, whatever they're gonna do. Yeah. So that'll be fairly quick. I guess they're finalizing participants. That's really it for Money in the Bank for the actual match. But all right. So well, add that to the docket then. We'll hit some Money in the Bank predictions, and then we'll talk some Forbidden Door. So sounds good. We'll do that next week. So but for JPO, for Richie. Hopefully, Barber will be back next week. Mr. Barber, I am Austin Pez Hell, and we will see you guys next time.